Peace. Peace and paradise to all the American Aborigines. Troopers in the building. Hey, shout out to my partner Todd Data around here somewhere, man, on the production. So shout out to that. Shout out to all the great ones tuned in. It's gonna be tuned in a little later, man. We definitely appreciate all the love, man. Y'all know, man, that intro always gets me hyped, man. Florida State intro, that theme music, man, it always gets me going, man. So shout out to that, man.
And Walter like to stay up all
We
night.
got P
Here's the
Parker.
thing. Shout out to P Parker and the person in the building. Salute. Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? All the support, man, that we getting here, man. So being first in the building, man. That's like the first boots on the ground, man. So
But how
shout
did
out to
y'all
you for
even
that,
come
man.
early? Because you
We
didn't
definitely
call me. Y'all
appreciate
was
it.
still out at like
Shout out to Miss
2:30, 3
Mohawk in the
o'clock.
building, man. Mr. Dark Brother. Everybody else, man, is tuned in, man.
So
We
y'all
tuned in,
left
man.
the
We definitely
club?
salute y'all, man. Double hand salute. Um, man, you tuned into the grace of all time.
Okay, good.
This is what we do.
Oh, really?
I wanted to get kind of into this thing, you know what I'm saying, and kind of break the stuff down, for a lot of us,
But
man, you guys
why
listening,
opinions to go to
you guys
Charlie
probably
In a
say,
couple
Charlie?
man, we
minutes.
already know all this, Chief. We know
Okay.
the etymology of these words and things of that nature, whatever, right? But I think
And see, that's the
consistency
thing with you being with your man,
um,
because y'all get to
is
know
needed
and stuff. You know what I'm
because a lot
saying?
of the basic stuff, a lot of the wordplay and a lot of the word spells that we're
So you
under
can slow
is
down.
based off of because we don't understand etymology, right? And I'm just gonna break down etymology. Etymology is
Oh,
basically
okay.
the origin of
I'm glad I got
words.
to go in there,
Okay,
though. I like how you like
origin of words, origin and the original meanings of the words, right? That's
my baby, what
etymology in a
y'all
nutshell, right? Let's get to the etym of words. So a lot of times when we're getting a historical account of so-called words, right,
Oh,
or
cool.
so-called events, we're getting what did I say?
That's what I'm
We're
saying.
getting their rendition of it. We're getting their depiction of it. We're getting their story of it, right? And their agenda, right? It's usually attached to words. Okay. I always try to tell people, always
Come on, get out
do
this
saying
traffic.
something to
Let me
empower
drive.
yourself.
Let
Hold on a
me
second.
drive.
So words have meaning, right? And so a
Okay,
lot of
well then
times
copy
people put
that.
their
Okay.
meanings and put their
All
understanding and
right,
stuff,
bye.
and like I said, their agenda into these words, into the things that we teach a lot of times. So even when I hear Aborigines or people, of that nature, saying
Go down and go over
saying
that
certain
way.
things. Hold on, words have meaning. You know what I'm saying? So of course, if these people are writing the agenda, or writing the curriculum, they're gonna put their agendas on it or whatever. And usually, it always ends up in their political power, their economic power, their social power, right? So what we're gonna do is just break down a lot of these things right now. Shout out to Todd Data Man yesterday, the Lakeisha Alert Man. Go check out the Lakeisha app in the Play stores, Google or Play Store or Apple Play Store. So go check that out or whatever, man. And we're gonna get into that conversation a little later too, right? Just the brilliance of that. I seen SETI do a build on, like he said, like 75 Aborigine. He said African women have been kidnapped and things of that nature, whatever. But remember, that's what Ty Data, shout out to Lex Vortex, they started the Lakeisha Network for us. So salute to that, right? So shout out to the show yesterday, man. It was very informative, man. I never even heard of breadfruit. I think that was interesting, and we've always talked about networking and linking up with our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean islands, aka America. Y'all follow me? So that's what it is, right? So, but salute to the brothers and sisters. I remember Miss Carleen McLean was one of the panelists or whatever. I'm familiar with the other two brothers that was on there, so big ups to those brothers. But the brother was breaking the stuff down, was brilliant, right? But he said some stuff, right? And he was explaining the Maroons, right? But I'm in the chat room and I'm like, yo, maroon only means brown. And when we get to the etym of the word, right? In Spanish, maroon is brown, still today. Okay? So when the Spanish, I'm not gonna say conquered the island or dealing with us. And I'm saying us, the Caribs, the Arawaks.
Hey,
You know, I like to say the
Chief, if we're gonna get to the
tribe.
video, cause I gotta step away for a minute.
Yeah. Okay, I got you, Ty. So just real quick. So I just wanted to get into, when we're talking words, right? We're talking the miseducation of our people, especially is it bound in these spells and these words or whatever, right? So the brother was saying it was giving a British perspective on the word maroon, so called the wild runaways and things like that or whatever, right? When that's just not the case. So even we're just talking about the word Jamaican and things or other words that these people are naming us, right? It gives a context, it gives ownership to other people. So we have to understand these word spells and how to break through them when we're hearing them. All right, so I wanted to salute Phil Advisory Show, right? I seen the video, right? Because I wanted to get into John Horse, right? Salute to the ancestor John Horse, and our ancestors, the Seminole, the Yamasee, the Creeks. You know what I'm saying? I could have put so many different tribes in there, man. The Gullah Geechee, you know what I'm saying? The Delaware, the Massachusetts, you know what I'm saying? The Pequods. I could have put a lot of these different tribes, and we're talking about so-called Jamaicans. You follow me? So-called, I understand so-called Haitians and things of that nature, whatever. We're just talking about the blackbirding that was going on, from taking people back and forth. So I say there's no separation between us and our brethren and sisters in the islands. So I just want to put that together, right? So shout out to Phil about the show, man. I seen this video, right? And I didn't know it was about Phil because I guess he changed his channel to African diaspora, something like that. Game, people out this video, whatever, and then we're gonna come back on the other side of it and break this thing down. And then salute you out of Raiders jersey on, man. I definitely salute that. So peace everybody. Shout out to everybody, man. Let's get it.
Some Black History videos, brother, because we like some of the videos you put up in the past. So I wanted to make sure to put some out, but I want to make sure I found some stories of people that most people don't know about. So there's a brother named John Horse, and he was part of the Black Seminoles. Now, a lot of people don't know about the Black Seminoles. I sure wasn't taught that in school, that black people was part of the Seminole tribe. Well, I want you to hear the story behind this, brother, and we back to talk about it.
It's hard to imagine that Hollywood hasn't jumped all over this. You would think it would be box office gold because it's part Spartacus and part Braveheart and part Amistad and part Glory with a little bit of Dances with Wolves thrown in. A story decades long of oppression and freedom fighting. I don't understand why there hasn't been more attention to John Horse and the Black Seminoles, but hopefully we can correct this. John Horse and the Black Seminoles deserve to be remembered for a number of reasons. They created the largest haven in the U.S. South for runaway slaves. They led the largest slave revolt in U.S. history. They secured the only emancipation of rebellious slaves prior to the U.S. Civil War, and they formed the largest mass exodus of slaves across the United States, moving from the Florida Everglades through Indian Territory, what would become Oklahoma, eventually locating in Mexico, where they secured title to their own land. It's a remarkable story. It's overlooked not just by filmmakers, it's not well known in popular culture, and in fact it's been overlooked by historians of slavery, if you can believe it. In the early 18th century, two groups in particular fled the colonial South into Spanish Florida, into the Everglades. One of these groups were Seminoles, who were migrating from the various colonies, just trying to avoid white encroachment, basically, trying to move someplace that white colonists weren't. And the other group was runaway slaves, people who were fleeing and trying to create a free life for themselves. Both were welcome in Florida, and in fact, the Spanish crown offered runaway slaves their freedom if they would defend the land for the crown, for the Spanish. So a mixed society emerged in the Everglades of intermarriage, family intermingling between these runaway slaves and the Seminoles. And in fact, the first legally sanctioned black free town in the North American continent was in the Spanish Florida Everglades. After the American Revolution, people living in the southern states didn't really like living that close to a large armed population of former slaves, particularly when they were in league with the local Native American nation, the large armed group of free Seminoles. And they knew that their own slaves felt free to run away and be harbored by this group. They knew that they were welcomed. And so from George Washington's administration on, there was questions of what do we do about the problem of the Florida Everglades. In 1818, this was James Monroe's administration, General Andrew Jackson actually moved into Florida, invaded it, not authorized to do so. He was actually pursuing justice against those who'd attacked Fort Scott in Georgia, but he did it anyway. He went into Florida and claimed it for the United States. When he seized the peninsula, he took the opportunity to execute some of the people who opposed him and also to clean out some of the areas of former slaves and Seminoles because he felt that this would make it better for annexation. The United States then soon actually bought Florida from the Spanish. When Jackson became president, he decided to make sure that the black Seminole communities were moved out by force. So he pursued this in his policy, his larger policy of Indian removal. This led to the Second Seminole War, which was 1835 to 1842, and became the largest and costliest of the so-called Indian Wars. Because the two communities were tied together, that is, the former slaves and the Seminoles, when the Seminoles were attacked in the Seminole War, this led to an uprising of the former slaves. In April of 1836, black Seminoles and their Indian allies moved together to create what was the largest slave rebellion in U.S. history. This wasn't just a matter of runaway slaves. More than 385 plantation slaves ran away from their masters and joined the black Seminoles, essentially in laying waste to the Florida sugar mills, which were some of the most valuable areas, plantations in the whole continent. One Seminole leader at the time was the leader Osceola, who is justly remembered by history. Another leader who rose up at this time was John Horse, who was ethnically a black Seminole, and who would ultimately lead his people on a long and trying exodus for their freedom. In 1838, John Horse and the black Seminoles agreed to stop fighting the U.S. government in exchange for moving to what was then considered to be Indian Territory, which is now today the state of Oklahoma, and for legal recognition of their freedom. So despite the fact many of them were runaway slaves, they would have the opportunity to start over again as free individuals. Once they moved from the Everglades to Indian Territory, however, they found that their freedom was under attack, both by whites and by other Native Americans. In 1848, a decade after they had made the agreement with the U.S. government, the U.S. Attorney General announced that the government never had the authority, the power to recognize their freedom. And in fact, they were still, those who had been slaves, still enslaved. This was like opening season on them, basically declaring that they were there for the picking. And so they did the only thing they could do. They fled once again. Without security in Indian Territory, Horse and his Seminole ally Coacuchi promptly went to Mexico, where slavery was already illegal and had been for a couple of decades. There, Horse became famous as a general in the Mexican army, and his people found a way to make a life. Once they relocated to Mexico, things changed. When slave catchers from the Republic of Texas went over the border to try to find the runaway slaves, now free men, they met resistance not only from the black Seminoles, but also from the Mexicans and the Mexican army itself. Eventually, the Black Seminoles, led by Horse, gained legally recognized Mexican land, Nacimiento. Why isn't this recognized today? Well, for one thing, historians tend to be historians of Native American history or historians of slavery, but there's not many that move among these subjects, and it's a bit confusing because you have both the issue of runaway slaves and the issue of Native Americans kind of blended together, so it seems to fall through the cracks. Tradition is that Nat Turner's rebellion is the big turning point in the history of slavery and slave revolt, but that happened before the rebellion of the Black Seminoles, so it doesn't really fit the traditional trajectory. And perhaps most importantly, it really represents a blemish on U.S. history, not only because of the poor treatment of Native America, as represented by the Seminole War, not only the poor treatment of African Americans through the device of slavery, but also because this group really did manage to negotiate a separate peace with the U.S. government, and 10 years later the government turned their backs on them. So it's, in multiple ways, a difficult story for people of the United States to tell. But it's worth remembering that a community of freedom fighters trekked from Florida to Oklahoma to Mexico and found, ultimately, peace and freedom and prosperity in lives that they could direct as their own. I recommend highly the website johnhorse.com for more information.
When I heard about this brother, I was like, wow, why wasn't I taught about this?
He created the internet business that produced these checks.
Why is it that my education was cheated? I don't know nothing about this country. I don't know nothing about the Indian Wars. I don't know nothing about this brother or any of these figures in history. But yet they made sure to hide this stuff from everybody. They don't teach the kids stuff like this because you know why? It shows that those European colonial settlers were not nice people. That they were very savage in nature, all the killing and maiming they was doing to people. Now you saw that the Indians and the runaway slaves was in one area of Florida. Now Spain was like, look, slaves, y'all can be over here, just fight for us. They were like, cool, no problem. Y'all, you giving us a place to be. And them people minding their own business. And who come bothering them? Like always, the U.S. government at that time period. Won't leave them alone. Same thing happened with Black Wall Street. You're in your area, minding your business, not bothering them, and here they come to try and destroy your town. It's just a repeat of the same thing over and over and over that has happened to the Native American and the black man and black woman here in this country. But they don't want to talk about these stories. The woman asked why Hollywood haven't jumped on this. The reason why Hollywood have not jumped on this, they do not want to show the truth of this nation. They want to show that everything just great and, you know, nobody is just bad in the past and, oh, you know, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or make people feel bad or whatever. Man, forget that. This is what happened in this nation. This is American history, and we need to talk about it. Because if you don't talk about it, you don't share it, it could be something that could be repeated. And forget that. Now, one thing I liked in this particular story is the unity that it had within the black, Native American, and Mexican communities. As you heard, when they end up going to Mexico, they bought land down there. Those slave masters in Texas trying to come get slaves, and the Mexican army stood up against them and said, no, you're not going to come down here and do this stuff. Even the brother was even like a general in the Mexican army. And, you know, I remember one time I was told that they had a black man as president of Mexico, and it really intrigued me. I said, what? So I did some research on my own a while back and found out that was true. And I was like, how black people was the president of Mexico, and how black people end up down there? And then when I started finding out some other things, I was like, wow, man. I said, I was just lied to in my education so much. I mean, it's like, what else they have been lying to us about? Now, you notice this unity that they have, and now we don't have that unity today. You know why this unity isn't here with us today? Because those in power made sure to separate our communities and sow discord among our communities. We have more things in common than we do apart. Let's talk about genetically. Do you know the father and mother of the Native American is the African and the Asian? They got together, start having kids. That's where Native American came from. Do you know that the Native American and the Spaniard got together, start having kids? That's where the origins of the Mexican people come from. Translation, all of them have African DNA in every last one of them. So we all connected all the way around. So it's natural just to get along with somebody you're connected to some way, form, or fashion. Even if it's way back in the past, you still connected to the African people. But the thing is, it's sad we don't have that unity today. That you have, sometimes you have some Hispanics that hate blacks and blacks hate Hispanics. And well, I can't say much about Native Americans because they kind of just stay in the area. You don't really see them a whole lot. But the thing is, they made sure to bust us up and not have us together and have this hate fest of each other when we actually have more in common than anything. Now, the thing with this story with this brother, it proves that, we were fighters. It proves that we just didn't take everything. We wasn't just victimized 24/7. And we rose up and say, no, you are not going to treat us like that. You're not going to put us down like that. They like to teach us that we were victims all the time. A lot of us have adopted that we were victims and that we were just so oppressed and everything. But yet they don't never teach about none of the slave revolts. They never talk about that. How brothers and sisters got together and got even guns and everything and went at slave master too and killed a lot of them too. Because they don't teach that. They want us to forever think that we were just some slaves and we just got our freedom, not too long ago because of the stuff with Dr. King. They don't talk about the other people in the civil rights movement, like Malcolm X, it has to be a figure that is someone that is easy to control their legacy and someone that can be easily relatable to, not somebody who can speak the truth. I mean, if this story don't teach you that how we've been lied to, how we have been given a story that makes the European settlers look good and not show the truth that what they actually did, and how it downplays everything that the African and the Native American and even the Mexican has done within this country or even in Mexico. I mean, it makes you wonder, what else have we been lied to in our education? What else? I mean, because it's sad how y'all lied to every last one of us about the history of this nation. Lies, lies, lies. But the wonderful thing about the internet, outside of just having fun on it and watching movies and videos or whatever, you can get educated. And I tell you, get educated on history. Please do. That way, you know what you're talking about. That way you can feel more better about yourself. Because one thing about black people is that you don't know your history. You know nothing. That's why you're in the state you're in, because if you learn your history and learn who you are, where you came from, you wouldn't be doing the things you're doing today, because that's so beneath you. The things you're doing today is just like something a peasant would do, because you come from kings and queens literally, but yet you're not acting like the people you came from. That's why the more I learn about this history, the more you learn about this history, it's going to stir something up in you to say, man, I got to do something great. I can't be sitting around here, fighting over Jordans and worrying about hair and just not being with my family like I was supposed to and making kids and all this other stuff. I mean, you got brothers and sisters in history that had led, fights, wars, that's tried to fight for our freedom. Native American people try to fight for their freedom. And yet this is what we doing today. We got to do better than that. But, shout out to John Horace and the Black Seminoles. They were some true warriors, and they did, what they could do in their time period. Hit me up in the comments, future commentaries, subscribe.
Hi, my name is Lakeisha from the Lakeisha Network. I am here to remind you to go to your Google or Apple App Store. Simply type the word LAKESHA and then search to install and download the Lakeisha Alert app to stay up to date on my new superior features. Subscribe to my YouTube page. opening up your app and clicking Menu. Click on the About Us tab. Try to get familiar with my software and also teach it to your loved ones. And get your household familiar with my information. It will be useful in the future. You're welcome in advance.
Stay ready. Yo, hey, so like I said, salute, Phil from Vibe Show, man. And y'all already know, man, that's for educational purposes. You know, as we say, fuck fair use. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully, salute to Phil, like you said, man. When I seen the video, I think it's like a year old. I thought it was a dope video. He asked some great questions, you know, and we're gonna answer some of these questions tonight, Phil. You know what I mean? Yes, you have astutely figured out that they have lied to all of us, right? But one thing that nobody never says when they're figuring this thing out is that the caste system that they're using, right? How the caste system works. There's a system, right? Dark on the bottom of the system, light on the top, right? But also the educational, the information, like we were saying earlier, whoever's teaching you words, they can also manipulate you and manipulate your perception of reality. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to point out, right, Phil, when you're talking about time periods, right, when you're talking about the 1800s, the so-called Seminole Wars, now think about this, right, how the lady was talking about it. I don't know how she's a fucking expert. Salute to her too, but anyway, she's talking about Black Seminole, Free Seminole, Slave Seminole, like slaves joining the Seminole, when we know for a fact that the so-called slaves were enslaved, they so-called enslaved the indigenous people of this land, 9-1 to anybody else, right? So slavery looks like apprenticeship, looks like employment, but 9 or prisoners of wars, right? Now, we're going to talk about some of these wars. Now, we're talking about the Seminole Wars right now. We're talking about Osceola. We're going to talk about John Horse. Now, Osceola, right? Speaking of the intro of the song, is the Florida State Seminoles fight song, right? So that song comes on, and Osceola is the guy who comes out on the horse and throws the spear into the ground. Y'all follow me? Right? Osceola is the guy on the horse who comes out at the Florida State and throws the spear in the ground, right? So as a little boy, and I seen that, went crazy, right? Because I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Not only the theme song, dun, 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 and then he come in on the horse and he throw the goddamn spear in the ground. That's gangster, you know what I'm saying? Y'all follow me? Right? But here's the thing, right? Osceola, who's a great chief, right, of the so-called Seminole people, right? Anyway, Osceola's mother was Aborigine. She was a Seminole, right? She was raped by a European, a Caucasian, according to the story, birthing Osceola, who would be considered a mestizo. Well, y'all follow me? That means he's mixed with the Aborigine people of the land, the indigenous copper tone races of people. That this can't be real, y'all. We cannot keep talking about this dumbass shit, right? The actual definition of the Americans was the copper colored races of Aborigines, meaning the first inhabitants that they found when they came here. Y'all see how this worked, right? So Osceola, right, is a mestizo. His mama was Seminole. Was she what they say Black Seminole? That's no such thing. That makes no sense. That's an oxymoron. Y'all see how this work? It's like Blackamoor. Y'all follow me? Just more wordplay, just more ownership, just more putting down. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So this is what they're doing when we're talking about Black Seminole. They're playing fucking word games, and she's being a fucking. Nobody say. We're going to break all this down. We can debunk every goddamn thing that she said out her mouth. And that's the problem. Anything that these people are saying, Phil, they're lying. Whenever they're making documentaries, the reason why Hollywood hasn't done this is because, first off, Hollywood don't want us to know that the indigenous people of this land were Negroes, right? But the problem with this is, y'all, that Spain, right, was here first. At least 100 years prior to the British coming to, to a lot of these parts, right? Okay, so that leads me back to Jamaica. Jamaica, whatever, was something that they called it when they came, right? The Spanish. When the British took over jurisdiction or whatever, or beat them, or they gave it to them in some type of agreements or something like that in some of their little conferences or some bullshit that they had, right? With this Vienna, Paris, or whatever the case may be, they were swapping out. Oh, well, you got the Philippines now, or you got this, you got Jamaica now. Well, anyway, Britain started to deal with the indigenous people of Jamaica, right? Arawaks. I like going to the actual tribes, right? The Caribs, as opposed to imposed names. Y'all see how this works? How they impose certain names of ownership. We're going back to ownership. If I create the names, you know what I'm saying? I'm creating the ownership, right? So, shout out to the brother Chad Murdoch in the building, right? So when we talk about the etymology of the word maroon, I could literally just I'm gonna go to the actual etymology of this word, right? And the actual etymology online. So the etymology of the word maroon in Spanish is brown. That's the etymology of it, right? But the British came in and they said, okay, well, you got maroons, brown people, right? Here, whatever that we're dealing with, and some of them have fighting us and ran up into the mountains that they know. You know what I'm saying? So this is how that works. So they changed the etym of the word. They changed the meaning of this word maroon to suit their needs, y'all. Okay? So the British are also dealing with us here in the Americas. When they came to the Americas, remember, Spain was in Florida first, right? Florida, right? They were in Florida first. So they had maroon colonies, what they call them, cities, from Florida all the way to Canada. I could show you Arawaks all the way up to Mississippi and Indiana, places like that or whatever. I can show you this. So we can get to those things or whatever, but I'm just, let's just, so we can get to this, right? So, what I'm saying is that, brother, is that they're just changing the actual words. So when the British took over, which a lot of times we're talking about, the British have still basically running Jamaica because they're the educational system, because you're speaking the language, which they wrote the curriculums, which even our people are teaching the curriculum. So they say, oh well, the Maroons are wild runaways up in the thing. Not saying that they didn't describe these and other descriptive terms of our ancestors. Well, we were wild. We were fighting back. You know what I'm saying? But we wasn't slaves. So once again, they're describing our people as slaves because we were. Because they don't want you to know that we were fighting back. And that's what Phil is saying. He said, well, how don't I know about this? Why didn't they teach us about these things? Because like he's saying, they don't want you to know how great you are. That is exactly what it is. They don't want you to also know that Washington was a so-called black man, aka Aboriginal to this land, because he was a Washita. So that is work. But here's the problem that they have, y'all, which is for me, y'all, is the kicker, right? And just, is how I know, I can say this with confidence that the original people of this landmass were Negroes, right? No, they just, when they came here and the Spanish said, oh, we found Negro del Terros, aka Maroons, here on the land, right? Not only that part, right? But they said that the Seminole Wars were in the 1800s, or 1830 something, 18, whatever, right? So you got the 1800s. Well, you also had the Yamasee Wars, who predate those wars by over 100 years. Y'all see how this works? So we talk about the Creek, we talk about the Yamasee, we talk about certain people. We were already fighting these people, right? And they say in the Yamasee War that the Yamasee killed 7 to 10% of the settlers in South Carolina. I'm gonna say this again: that they killed 7 to 10% of the settlers, aka Europeans, the Puritans, these different people, British, Germans, Dutch, who were encroaching on their land in South Carolina. This is the 1700s, the early 1700s, which makes these the bloodiest colonial, pre-colonial wars in the United States. Y'all said this word? So they don't want to tell us about, oh, the wars that we fought here in the Americas, right? But the problem with these wars is we were fighting against each other. So prisoners of wars, things of that nature, whatever, you see the results of these things, people getting displaced and getting pushed around, and called different names, like Seminole. Y'all follow me? So you would have a Seminole that could be classed, that could have been Quinqua, could have been this and that, or whatever, but Moroons, or whatever. So these are just descriptive terms. So Maroon is not a race of people, it's not a kind of people, or nothing like that, or whatever. So, and also, like I said, Spanish was just a descriptive term of the brown people that they found in the Americas when they got here. That's just what it is. And we can get into it right now because I don't want people to think I'm just pulling this out my ass, but you can get to etymology, any etymology book, to see the etym of the word maroon, right? Which turned into cinnamon, right? Or cinnamon, like the color cinnamon, like you put in your fucking oatmeal. You see what I'm saying? Cinnamon, right? Which turned into Seminole. Okay, it's just you just getting a translation and a word swapping, you know, as you go down. So when you look into the etym of words, it gets to the origin of what the word actually meant. Now I don't know why they changed brown to runaway to wow, right, to derogatory terms and attach it to black, but you have Negro for black. Okay, maroon is brown. You have Negro. See how this works? So it's very descriptive terms. It's very descriptive of the people or whatever. And like I said, I don't think that we should identify ourselves by what these people identify as, right? Because we start getting confused and be like, oh man, I'm a Blackfoot. Well, these are just descriptive terms of the people, the landmass, of things of that nature. Like, so I think that we gotta figure that out. We can't get stuck when somebody's talking to us. Oh, this is a black Seminole. Well, wait a minute. All Indians were so-called black first. I'm going to say this again so y'all can understand. Don't fuck with me. Don't tell me in the 1700s, 1800s that you had African Americans. See how this works? Because we know when they created the word African American. But we also know when they fucking created Native American. Y'all see how this works? They didn't have Native Americans during the Seminole Wars. I'm going to say this again so y'all can understand what I'm saying, okay? They didn't have Native Americans because they hadn't created that classification until the 1960s for Native Americans or African Americans or Hispanics. So all these things that they can mix up in the bowl. See how they do? They just mix it in the bowl, and they're gonna be telling you about a story from the 1800s, with giving you a 2001 perspective or a 1978 perspective, or once again their perspective. I'm not gonna say no names. Y'all know who's fucking funding these things. Shout out to Lotus Civilization. He's breaking it down. He's telling y'all who's coming up with these things, what year they coming up with them, the societies and all this other stuff. And people look like they didn't hear it. Y'all didn't hear this? And I just think that's weird to me. The shit that we be dropping, niggas act like y'all are not hearing this shit. You cannot tell me that you're not hearing this. You're not recognizing what's going on. Seriously. Because there's no more conversation. The Garfield nobody can come and say, yo, bro, you wrong about Maroons. You can't come and tell me that because I'm just going to I'm going to show you the etymology of it. And I'm going to ask you in Spanish, right, was Spain in Jamaica first? When they were in Jamaica, was maroon brown to them? Yes. Okay, is it maroon brown to them today? Yes. Today, right now, maroon is brown in Spanish. Done. These people are playing word spells, word games. Don't argue with me about that all day. Don't separate yourself based off of these word spells. Oh, I'm Blackfoot. I'm Choctaw. I'm Creek. I'm Seminole. These are, come on, bro. We're the people of the land. The reason why John Horse, he was going, Oklahoma didn't even existed when he was rolling through so-called Oklahoma, Indian territory. Once again, they're claiming a territory that they didn't own. They didn't own Mexico. They didn't own the other places. And the reason why he went where his brothers was. He could speak the language to these people. See how this work? Because we was all through the Americas, from Canada all the way down to Brazil. Oh, it could have been great. The reason why you see Mayan pottery, nigga, all this is Maya. All this is Mexico. All this is Venezuela. Y'all understand what I'm saying? This is America. This is American. This is America, brothers. So this is America, Jack. So don't let them separate and start carving up, start changing us who we are, whatever. The reason why he could go down there and become a general because of the works and the deeds he was doing here in America, the fight and the shit he was doing there, or whatever. So they knew about this. It wasn't like, oh, they didn't know who he was. Oh, just come on here and become a general. He ain't had to go to West Point or nothing to become a general. See how they just talk to us, bro? They just tell us anything. That we don't do no research on it. Oh, she sounds like she's an expert. Oh, let's go with that. Stop it. So yeah. So like I said, shout out to Phil from the Vibe Show, man. That was, like I said, he had some great questions. He had some great questions. Why was they lied to? Why are they hiding this or whatever? It doesn't fit the agenda, right? Now we're talking about the second president of Mexico, right? Probably the first, probably the third and the fourth and the fifth, and all the leaders before that were brothers, right? But if you go to Mexico right now and go look up Guerrero right now, the second actual president, whatever, who so-called ended slavery and all these different things, right? He was a brother, right? But they have him now. He's a European, right? Because once again, they're whitewashing stuff and they're telling the story from their perspective to empower them and their children and say, okay, well, this guy right here, as well as to make you feel bad because your people didn't free your people, so-called slavery. You guys see how this work? So yeah, man. So it's just more and more psych op going on, and we just gotta expose it. So if you continue to allow these people to miseducate your children, that's on you. When they send bullshit home, when they say things like Black Seminole, what other kind of Seminole? Oh, you have mestizo Seminoles, which means you have mixed Seminoles, but the original Seminoles would be Negroes because that's who they found when they came to Florida. So when we're talking about the Yamasee Wars that predate the Seminole Wars, right? See how this work? That's 100 years. So these people were fighting Negroes who were dealing with Spanish, were fighting against the British. You also had so-called Negroes who fought for the British, who were fighting against, let's just say, the Tuscarora. So you have the Tuscarora Wars. These are the early 1700s that predate the Seminole Wars, who were in the 1800s. So these are all Negroes. Now, you don't have Native Americans during this time on no paperwork, on no census, whatever, because they hadn't created them yet. They hadn't created the Dawes Rolls and these things yet to create these people. Y'all see how this work? So what they are doing is misclassifying the original people of this land to become colored Negroes and African Americans. Y'all see how this work? So I'm going to stand on that. So like I said, when they came here, the original tribes here or whatever, who banded together to help the Seminole fight across this country, came across the country to help them fight against the British. That's how it works. So, I don't know. You know, why would these tribes come together to fight against these people because they understand who they were dealing with. But the problem was that they also had other people fighting in their interest for them. So hence that's when you get so-called slavery from being prisoners of wars and being displaced and stuff like that or whatever. And also you have black brain. So okay, yeah, you're from here, but we took you to Jamaica, so now you Moroons, aka runaway slaves, aka Africans. And niggas, you know, some people get confused because they start saying they Ashanti and all this other stuff. But okay, so the oldest bones in Jamaica, in the actual archaeology in Jamaica right now, the oldest bones in the ground are Negro. They go back about 900 AD, or Negroes. This is just facts. So then you start, you know, digging around and you find it more that are newer, but these are all Negroes. So there's no question about this. The science backs up the actual archaeology, the actual dates, the actual empirical data that we have. Oh, also I'm going to cite a book called, I was going to get into it tonight, probably to do this on part 2 of this or whatever, called the Yamasee War, right? And they just start breaking it down. They're just telling you who these people, descriptive terms of these people, who's fighting against the British, who's fighting against the Dutch, who's fighting against these different entities, right? And whose interest they was fighting in. Because Spain is in Armada over here, France is in Armada over here. So we were fighting by proxy. That's it. So, yeah. So I like I said, Phil, you know, you got, yeah, you've been not only lied to, but been manipulated, right? And I like to say, you know, what we can do about this is, okay, hold their feet to the fire for the things they're doing. Okay, according to the UNDRIP, which is the United Nations Declaration of the Indigenous Rights, the rights of indigenous people, right? UNDRIP, the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People, states, as well as the American Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, ADRIP, says that genocide is also educating or miseducating people, check, from their culture and things like that. So we can literally point this out. Literally, we don't have, there's no argument that this is happening. There's no argument about this. And if we step up too much, they're gonna say, well, you guys are teaching us that we African American. They say you didn't have to when we call for African Americans, you didn't have to raise your hand up. And it's not a law that you say you gotta raise your hand to be an African American. You know what I'm saying? Because that fits right along with the narrative. Once again, that is the out of Africa hypothesis, right? Africa is another classification. It's not a race of people. You niggas are barbarians, right? So if they put on the paperwork, you barbarian American, are you gonna sign for that? No. Ethiopian American? No, right? Because these are just terms. These are not races of people. So yeah, I just think there's another more weirdo stuff that we do. Yeah. Yeah, and I had a couple of videos, right? And we showed some of these or whatever. I don't want to get flagged, but you know, George Lopez, for instance, right? He was doing the DNA stuff or whatever, and they was saying stuff like sub-Saharan Africans and stuff like that or whatever. I'm like, yo, you know, these terms, these terminologies and things of that nature or whatever, you know, are funny. But he was 55% European, right? And in his mind, all right, so I mean, it's shit crazy, y'all. Like these people could definitely write stuff down in a book or whatever, and just start changing words, go back in history and change words. You know what I'm saying? And we just we believe everything they say. We don't question anything. And I think those are the things that you have to make a great scholar, a great student. You know what I'm saying? I believe I'm a master student. Um, you have to ask questions. If things don't make sense to you, you just don't accept stuff or whatever. I think in order to make that information that you're hearing a little bit more solid, you know what I'm saying? I think it's up to us to ask questions. Hey, what about this? How does this work? Why is this like this? Why did you say that? As opposed to saying this, as opposed to just sitting there and taking it, and then going back and regurgitating the same miseducation that you've been educated. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very important for you to raise your hand, whether you're in the kindergarten, first, second, third grade, second year in college, second year in grad school, whatever. You have to ask questions, and I think that's a very important part of the process to be able to ask questions. So, yeah. So when we talk about mestizos, right, that's a real thing. We break a lot of that stuff down. We show you specifically when and where these things have started, whatever, right? So talking about George Lopez, right, they'll say stuff like you're 55%
Let's go.
European, which doesn't really mean nothing because you had
Let's go.
Negro Europeans, you had so just these terminologies, these words, right? When we breaking words down, even amongst Aborigines or whatever, we have to understand the words that we're saying when we're saying to people like mongoloid, right? When you say mongoloid, which is not a term, there's no such thing. There's no such human beings named mongoloids, right? They don't even use this term anymore. But we use the term which is associated with the Bering Strait crossing. Even during this time, just the people that you would call mongoloids didn't exist, right? So they didn't exist 10,000 plus years ago. This is just a fact. I don't care what nobody say. Negroes existed, but once you start saying terminologies like Negro, Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Oceanoid, you automatically start putting different people in time frames that they didn't exist in. You automatically start saying something, and you start hearing dumb shit like paleo humans, archaic humans, all these different words to send you off when they're just saying time periods. When these time periods, only brown people were on this planet, according to science, not according to Chief Holiday, according to science. So then you start seeing people say, oh, well, we know that the Mongoloid type was here during this time period. You don't know that. Wanna know why you don't know that? Because you don't have a bone to prove it. Period. I've always asked these guys these questions. Just prove it, right? And it's just crazy, man. It's crazy how people interpret data. They say, oh, well, we found, and I did this, right? We found a pyramid, or we found certain things, in my African-ass mind, right? I always contributed to Africa. Feel? But we have more in Africa than Africa do. We have more pyramids in Africa. We have more bones. Matter of fact, we have bones. We have bones. You don't have anything to place you in Africa. Period. You're not attaching yourself to those bones in Kemet, aka Egypt. You're not doing that. So you're attaching yourself to a slave boat, aka Kunta Kinte. You're not attaching yourself to science, bones, actual data that we could touch and say, okay, this is the bones, this is the skulls, this is the graveyard that we found way over here, right? But no, you let them change the name of a graveyard here in America from Negro burial grounds to African burial grounds. Y'all see that work? And everything that you find over here that's Negroes, you attribute it to being African. Do you attribute these mounds and pyramids to being African, mounds and pyramids? See how this works? Oh, if you do, then show me them in West Africa. Show me them. That's all you got to do. Show us an Olmec head. Show me the blueprint. Like, oh, when we get to America, we're gonna make this when we get here. Show me. So every time that we do so-called see something black, don't contribute it to Africa. Positive or negative, don't contribute it to Africa. Because you don't have you don't have nothing to back it up. Even from the 1800s, you don't have any African anything. So, okay, this right here is from here. Unless it came back from Liberia. Show me. Stop telling us. Stop giving us the fantasies. Stop giving us these stories that have been cooked up in these people's minds. Show us the bones that you attach to. Show us the artifacts. We have the artifacts here, and people act like we didn't show you the artifacts. I'm like, that's crazy. When we show you it, like, well, maybe an alien did it. Maybe some giants did it. Like, what? Our ancestors didn't do it? So these are things that we're dealing with. So I just say, we got to step our game up as people who are disseminating this information, especially for one, tighten your game up. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep putting out the same terminologies that they're putting out because they're winning. And you're confusing people when you say Mongoloid, when you say certain things, when these people are already using Native Americans. Native Americans didn't exist in ancient times in America. They didn't exist 100 years ago. Okay? So stop falling for the caste system, stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe. That's what you're doing. No matter what y'all talk about, then we got people running around here in the community that's mad. If you're a mestizo and you're mad, it's like, it's like you can't be mad at your grandparents. Get your shit together, man. Stop honoring the caste system. Stop honoring the Europeans that's in your bloodline. We get it. We understand that. But it can't be no honor for the thief, for the robber, for the murderer. You can't have an honor for that. No matter how you put it together, it cannot be no honor for that person who robbed, stole, and cheated from your ancestors who were already here. Like Phil say, minding their business. So ain't no goddamn Native Americans, even they wasn't around in 1920s during the so-called Black Wall Street. But they'll tell you that they took their fucking slaves on the trail. They being forced off some land, but they took their slaves. I'm scratching my head like, how, Sway? But they'll continue to tell these dumbass stories, and these are the things that we have to fight against tooth and nail when we put down information. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, once again, maroon is only brown. If you're emotional about that, sorry. I don't care. That's just the facts of the matter that maroon is brown. That's it. No matter if the British came in and changed it, they're changing it for social, political, economic empowerment for them. If you consider yourself a slave based off of some conversations that these people are talking about, they didn't come to the Americas and enslave everybody in America. That's a goddamn. It's not enough whips, it's not enough chains, not enough land for all of that, y'all. Stop believing this. I heard somebody ask a question like, well, how many people did it take to enslave all these people? Nobody never asked these questions because they wasn't here. So even when I hear that they killed 7% to 10% of the settlers in South Carolina, it might only been 100 of them here during that time. You understand what I'm saying? So for them to be able to count that and say, okay, well, that was 7%. They killed 7 people, you know what I'm saying? So they killed 7% of the people. So even when they talking about these wars, you'll figure out that they didn't kill like 12 people in the whole goddamn conflict. That's not necessarily a war. But they telling it like they won these things to us to maintain their social, economic, political fucking power. This is what they're doing. And we keep reinforcing it when we send our children to their schools and our children come back dumb as hell, regurgitating the same dumb shit. Like when I see these niggas, I'm like, yeah, man, I can't even comment no more. Nobody. I just want to comment today. These MBK and shit. I still gotta bang on these niggas, man. I guess. Why y'all cowards, man? Why I can't comment? I wasn't even gonna say nothing negative. I was just saying, hey, how y'all doing? Even though the shit y'all talk about, we can prove that the first residents of New York was an African American. I want to throw a TV, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Where was he from in Africa, nigga? See what I'm saying? They can't even they never give that to nobody. They always just say, oh, you're black. Oh, their minds go to Africa. Oh, it's African. Well, what about them finding people of color here? Oh, they was Africans too. Well, where do you get that from? Well, we believe in the out of Africa hypothesis as being a fact. Okay, well, it's not a fact. It's not even the theory yet. It hasn't made it to the theory stage yet. And there's other things that debunk it. So I like to push the out of America theory. So I don't care what y'all say. You gonna be mad about that? I like to push the Tanchan theory. But one thing that we can prove that certain things did come from America, when we say civilization, counting 1, 2, 3 buildings, shit like that or whatever, we say that those things came from America. Because everybody didn't come up with it at the same time or different time periods around the world. It had to start somewhere, so we say it started in America. How about that? So let's do away with the caste system. Let's do away with the black-white stuff. Because even when you play that game, you're falling into the caste system. Black is being blacklisted. Black is being the lesser of the thing or whatever, right? And so I still argue with people sometimes, about the chess, playing chess. They be like, if it's black and white people, they be like, oh, the white supposed to move first. And I'm asking them to show me that in the rule book. Why would, if the pieces are evenly, the squares are even and everything, why does it matter which one moves first? But just because of how people have been taught. I don't know if it's tradition or whatever. When somebody goes against the grain, it's like, oh, you can't do that. And I ask why. Why don't the black move first? That has to be a question. Anybody chess players out there, whatever, let me know. If you've seen that rule somewhere, right? Now, here's the thing. Y'all know how I feel about rules. They're meant to be broke. So even if you produce this rule, I'm going to be like, well, so what? That's just how I move. So, and then we're going to change it back change it where we want it to be at. So that's how that works. I don't know how anything else works. Why should we even entertain anything? Oh, it says right here, you're supposed to be on the bottom of this information, or on the bottom of this scenario, or you're supposed to be a slave. So you don't supposed to be want nothing to do nothing great. So yeah, we're gonna teach y'all that y'all what number slaves, what number runaways, right? What number wild team, man.
That's gonna be fun.
Yes, we are wild. And so once again, and we wild in the 1800s. Do y'all think we wasn't wild in the 1500s, 1600s? Like we just got less wild. Like as we got older, we got more wild or less wild. Come on, bro. Like nigga, we was wild the whole time. So these stories that they tell that Cristobal Colon came over here with a few men without guns and was raping and murdering people. You believe that? See what I'm saying? So I challenge everything, bro, like don't make sense. And I'm not telling stories over and over and over and over and over again that don't empower our children. I'm never going to tell that story. It doesn't make sense. Why would you keep teaching that? Even if it happened exactly the way they wrote it, why would we teach this to our people? Christopher Columbus discovered America. What? Okay. Well, who were the people that built all the pyramids here in America when he came there? That's all the questions you got to ask. Who are the people with those old make heads with the braids in the back of them? We're going to ask these questions. Who are these mummies in the ground right here? Who are these niggas standing up here 7 foot tall with these spears with gold tips on them? Oh, those are Africans. Why y'all ain't got no spears over there with gold tips on them? These are questions that nobody answers the questions. See, I've been in the question. Hey, Dr. Henry, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Van Sertima, Dr. Ben. Hey, these are the questions I have. Maybe we could have came to some answers together as opposed to just, I'm just sitting there rubbing his feet and shit, not answering no questions. I'm not going to do that. One, I'm not going to rub your feet. Two, I'm going to ask some questions. So, that was a little shot, y'all. Don't take it personal. They should. Yeah, I can't see the chat room, y'all. So shout out to the chat room, everybody, man. I definitely want to get some questions. See what see what's going down. How everybody feel about this? I know Chad was feeling, way about the Maroon thing or whatever. But once again, when we called ourselves Maroons and they came, and so show me, and then show me the first terminologies of the word Maroon, and then let me know any Spanish-speaking people in the chat room what's Maroon, what's brown in Spanish, what's blue, what's yellow, what I'm saying, what's green. So we gotta talk about it. We can't just keep accepting the narrative, that keeps continuing to put us and our ancestors in a box. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at, y'all. We're here for the truth. We're not here for the fluff and filler and all that shit. We're here for the truth. So, yeah. Yeah, hey Ty, you there, bro? Yeah. We gonna get a couple people on the panel. I don't know if Al Powers around. A1. A1. We've been talking about this, man, you know what I'm saying? And, he's done pieces and we've talked about their bills on the so-called Native American slavery. Once again, they push you in the terminology like Tonto was being enslaved and shit. You know what I'm saying? But we know that's Hollywood. When we talk about the Lone Ranger, when we talk about Tonto, these are brothers. You know what I'm saying? These are Negroes. These I was over in Copper Hot Steps in Locono, and shout out to them. Big ups to them. Big up to DJ Gambler, Empress Copper Fox. You know what I'm saying? I had we were talking about this very thing, you know what I'm saying? This is the identity crisis that we're having, right? Now they're Caribs and Arawaks in the UK, but they identify obviously with America. They're closer to the continent of Africa, but you know what I'm saying? But they're still identifying with their brothers and sisters, with their ancestors here in the Americas, right? Which is rightfully so. So salute to them, right? But I had wrote in the chat room that Mel Gibson had in Braveheart had played the a character of a brother. That historically the people in scorched land, right? It's Scotland, scorched land, right? We're Negroes. So when we're talking about Europeans, you got to give me some time periods and things like that, whatever. So when we're talking about the War of the Roses in this time period or whatever, we're talking about them extinguishing and displacing Negroes in scorched land. Scorched land. He was a scorched man. Y'all got it? Y'all get it? You don't get it? So we're gonna get it one day. So these are the terminologies. So a lot of things that we're seeing. Because if not, you believe that Moses them was Charleston Heston then. You know what I'm saying? So you believe these things. But these are the things that these people are doing. They are using magic. So you got to be able to not be manipulated by it and kind of shape the energy, shape the, to work for you and don't work against you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we're doing. Too much of it, y'all. So hold on one second. Let me get this. Yeah, I'm here, bro. I was just sending. I was sending out the email. Hey, can you send the link to Aboriginal Power?
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up pretty soon. Hey, yeah, you guys, the oldest bones, those are our people. These guys, like I say, I had a conversation with these guys, and I clearly could see that these guys don't know what they're talking about. These guys is yeah, they going with the flow, and so and I can prove that. I can prove all that mathematically. I can prove Naya. I can prove Luzia. Didn't
Right.
Luzia get burnt? Didn't the museum where she was in get burnt down?
I'm sure she didn't, but they said that the museum burned down, and that
Yes,
was
yeah, yeah.
the
So
main.
so
The only thing
yes,
that they spoke about that got lost was Lucia.
right. And according to the data, uh, that the researcher said that the bones, Lucia's skull was coming back anything other than mongoloid, and it was a Negroid face, and that wasn't an opinion. That was the actual data says
It's
that
called craniology. It's called craniology.
but whatever they call it, that was the actual what the data says.
Well,
So you
they
can't
say that
you
craniology is the most reliable way how they identify with
yeah,
somebody.
yeah, but see, they dismiss it when it doesn't support them. They dismiss it. They dismiss it when it don't support them. So if somebody has, if the craniology says, oh no, hell no, these people ain't you, they will say, well, that's some weird shit and we don't use it. But then when it support them in their studies, then they say, oh yeah, we use it, and this is how we connect the Paleo American to the other American to the other American due to their crane. So if it don't work, then why you guys keep using it? You know what I'm saying? Because I caught, I went back to the video, and I caught why it got real disturbing. I caught by the video guy. We got Big Chief in the building. What's up, Big Chief? We got Gretchen Hams out there. We got who else out there? We got Charles Clark in the building. Big Chief, where you at, man? Where you at? Did you get a new phone number? Holla, we got Joe 47 out there. Joe 47, one of them game banging Indians. Y'all look out for him, man. Let me see. Uh, who else out there? We got Secret of Truth was up in here. Hey, how everybody doing? But
Peace.
yeah, but these are people, you guys. Don't let these weirdos try to convert you. Like I say, I got the mathematical proof. None of these guys can prove anything they can say mathematically. It's just a bunch of probabilities, and they don't really understand the version of a probability. And now that the Barron Strait theory is no longer theory, is no longer around no more. Now they're gonna go to some more weirdo tactics that still ain't gonna be able to hold up to data's mathematics. You know what I'm saying? So even when it comes to Naya, they say, well, we don't really do craniology. That's old. But then when it comes to when the one brother read the article, they was relying on craniology to attach them to this land, and they was relying on craniology to attach them to different types of people, and say that all these people skull shapes change. Even in Africa, the Sequoia or whoever they call them, they skull structure change and all this shit. So if craniology don't work, then why are you using it? You know what I'm saying? Why are you using it to make your argument? You see what I'm saying? So, you know, uh, it's real wishy washy, and this is why most of these guys won't come on and have a conversation and a mathematical conversation. You would never see that. You would never in your life see one of them dudes come on the channel and sit down and have a straight mathematical bang out with your boy Ty Data. That you would never ever in your whole entire life see that, because they don't want that. They can't handle that because they know they can't stand on truth. And if you ain't standing on no math, you I don't know what you're standing on.
Well, well, when you say math, bro, like I don't think people really are paying attention to what you're saying. Math is like, okay, you have 1 plus 1, right? Perfect
Two.
example.
Right.
Nobody never pays attention to the 400 years of slavery. They only pay attention to 1619 as opposed to, okay, so-called Africans coming to America. But what they do is they slickly flip it to slave. African, black, and slave are key terms. They work hand in hand. Trust me on this. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. All they gotta do is say black to you. You already kunta.
You
You
already
already
gone.
kizzy, motherfucker.
So
You
if they don't
gone. Boom. Yeah.
understand math, I can break it down. I can break it down a little bit.
Right,
When
but
you
they never talk about it though. Like the country wasn't even a country in 1619.
right, and
They never
the
talk about it
fact
like that.
and the fact that you know the first person that crossed a certain barrier and you give them that land, who made that rule up? Who made if just say for example the Bering Strait was real, right? And America was empty, and so these Mongoloid people crossed this. Who said that they can have this? Who gave it to them? You see what I'm saying? Who made the rule that if you cross this line right here, you get to own this country? Who made that rule up? You see what I'm saying? Who made that rule? Because we can use the same rule by saying, okay, first person on the planet, we get the planet. So can we make up the same thing? Yeah. So it gets weird. But if they don't understand the math, I'm gonna try to break it down a little bit. Um, like if you understand like mathematics, you will understand that everything you looking at and everything has a type of a code, or you can say a type of vibration to it. But when you look inside the vibration, there will be code in there. And so what they're trying to say is they're trying to say that Africa is the source coder. The source code will be equivalent to like your God or something like that, because that's where the code comes from. That's where all code. So there's a couple different scenarios and a couple different probabilities of where code come from. Either there's a master coder, or there's like one code and everything came from that code. Those are only two that I know of. I'm pretty sure there are more possibilities. My brain just doesn't stretch that far yet. But those two scenarios. And so what they're trying to say is that Naya was over here, but Naya comes from Africa, which means Africa wrote the code of Naya. You know what I'm saying? And Africa wrote the code of Naya. But then when you say, well, how can you attach Naya back to the code? So how can Naya come from that code and had no traces of that code at the same time? So the story, if you understand what I'm saying, the story just debunked itself right there. And so even and that's even genetic. When you look farther inside genetics, you know what I'm saying, they say you find different types of coding. And so if Africa wrote the code, then that means Naya should have some code to trace her back to Africa. If she don't have that, then what you got is a made up story. But then they have a story that say, but you have to do that without a possibility though. So basically, you have to attach Naya back to the source code, which is Africa, with no probability. Anytime you use probability in math, you're gonna open up a whole bunch of possibilities. And so you don't want to open up possibilities, because possibilities is your enemy when you're in math. But when you're in different types of sciences, possibilities is their holy grail. They want the possibilities. That's what they want. But in math, possibilities is the enemy. But in their fields and anthropology and all the shit that they're doing, possibilities plays in their favor. So how are you going to attach Naya back to her source? Okay, which you say she came from. How you going to attach her back to her source without using one probability? The second you use a probability up, it ain't true. You're making shit up. You see what I'm saying? So it's just that simple. It's just a simple as equation. That simple as equation I just explained to you. Just that's totally just debunk all that shit right there. If you can fully understand it. So, but so we just, you know what I'm saying, just whatever you doing and whatever you gonna keep doing, you know what I'm saying, keep doing it. You know what I'm saying. We got math on our side, you guys. Can't nobody debunk it. Just put it like that. Can't nobody debunk the math
Back.
we have. So we're gonna leave
Yo,
it at that.
Ty.
But I gotta head out a little bit. What's good?
So another thing that these guys are doing, right? Like I see a lot of scientists, right? Like they just found some pyramids in Florida, right? South Florida.
Huh?
Check it out. Oh yeah, huh.
What you mean found? You mean they just released them?
Yeah, because they just they because they've excavated them, they've done things or whatever, but they don't want the brothers and sisters in Florida to know that pyramids are in Florida, in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky. They don't want us to know this. Tennessee, they don't want us to know these things are happening, so they're hiding them. And some of them are hidden in plain sight and say, "Oh, this part of the city, that's that literally the inner cities will be right next to like forbidden land or forbidden stuff or whatever." And you just think, "Oh, we just can't go there," but you don't know why you can't go there because they're hiding the artifacts. They're hiding your ancestors, right? And they say, "Well, they got Mayan artifacts and they got Mayan stuff here and whatever, right?" And they go through all these things, but when they're saying Mayan, they automatically know that you identifying
with somebody else.
with
Yep.
with somebody else, a mestizo, right in
Yep.
Florida.
Yep.
Bypassing the bones,
In the
bypassing
skull.
the skull that's just sitting there, like, hey, with locks still on it, like wrapped around the ground. Like, come on, bro. Like, this is unbelievable. This is a terrible secret that they've been hiding for a long time, and this is
It's coming out.
yeah, it's coming out. And they
The
can't hide
math is
it.
creeping up on them. Don't worry about
And
it. We got it.
and the more and more we take, the more and more we're gonna keep taking, y'all. We're not gonna keep giving. We're gonna keep taking. Because next, I'm going for Thomas Jefferson next. Because it don't make sense for y'all to believe that any Caucasian person name is Jefferson. Like you just can't believe it. Yes, that is work.
4%.
Yes, that is work.
Okay. Yeah. So
you feel what I'm saying? Like we already got Washington. We good with that one. The research is there. You just got to catch up, right? But when we start talking about taking more and taking more and taking more, why not? Why not? Like once we get to the truth, right? Because these motherfuckers have told us that the Boston Tea Party, that some white guys painted themselves black and made themselves look like Indians and went and dumped the tea into the fucking the harbor. They didn't tell you that the Massachusetts Indians were black as tar, nigga. They didn't tell you that the Delaware Indians who fought in the Revolutionary War, along with they don't tell you none of these things because they want you to believe that the only way your black ass got here is on the bottom of a ship being pissed and shit on. See how this work?
We need to go over there. Coronado Center. Where's that? We need to go over there. Oh.
Well, A1 A1 right here now.
Mm-hmm. Here go one.
Ear was really good.
That's how I know you're not listening.
Mm-hmm. Where you at, Chief?
I'm right here, bro. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Hey, look, I got another article. Check this shit out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know some of the plants here was called Moroons? You heard me?
Yeah.
Look, I got an article. I got a couple articles pulled up. But you building on the Yamasees, right? So what was you talking about the Yamasee so far? What was you saying?
Yeah, the Yamasee War happened 100 years prior to the Seminole War. So just putting all the people here in this time period that they're trying to save Native Americans and stuff, but they interchange the Native Americans to once again put Tonto in your mind to not or Osceola in your mind as opposed to the original people like John Horse. So that's why I like John Horse and wanted to go in on John Horse. So and I know you got a lot to talk about when we talk about slavery and we talk about enslaving the indigenous people of this land. So just kind of wanted to go in on some of that stuff.
Yeah, well, as far as the Yamasee and the Tuscarora, that was the war 1715 or 1712, and when they came in, they already came in the South, and them people just slid into the Gulf. Now, I was reading yesterday what the dietary practices was of the Gullah. The Gullah ain't nothing but the Yamasee and the Tuscarora. That's all it is. Ain't nothing but there was no tribe called the Gullah. No tribe called the Gullah. They revised that tribe in the 1900s. You know what I'm saying? After whatever stories they was heard, after whatever stories that they was told. But we done went over plenty of documentary that tells you that the Gullah, the Geechee people was already there. Wasn't no Africans there. Because like I said, why is Africans eating the same thing the Indians was eating? The Europeans didn't teach them to eat that shit. And then why they not telling you that they telling you that they bring in African slaves. They brought that so-called, if anything, according to the records that I seen, if they brought any Africans here, which we can't prove that, but they ain't start bringing them people here to the 1800s. And then this happened way before that. So none of them people escaped. The people who was escaping was enslaved Indians. That's who Harriet Tubman was. When you talking about escape to the North Star, ain't no fucking African know about no damn North Star, know where they was going to the North. Fuck somebody follow the North Star and you don't even know what the hell you going. And then they got an African playing her, running around like, I mean, it's this disrespect. But like I said, the Yamasee went in. And the thing, the funny thing about it is this, right? We got all the evidence of how. Let me see something. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me see. I had something about the Yamasees up. Let me see if I can find the article real quick. It's not this one. All right, just bear with me real quick, y'all. I got a bunch of shit pulled. I'm trying to find that article. This one. That one. All right, give me 1 second. I'm about to looking for the article. I had something already pulled up. Let me see. Did you hear that book I was reading from yesterday, Chief?
Yep.
And you see what they said they had, huh?
That was good shit.
See what they said they had here, right?
Yes, sir.
Paved roads, my dude. Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, what are you telling us?
Yo, hey man, you see Isaiah Thomas had to catch himself, man. Like we had a thriving economic system here that we use the waterways to get around, not only around so-called North America, but Central and South America. And by the way, Mexico is North America, right? So we've always had, shout out to John Horst, but we've always had a great relationship with our brothers and sisters in so-called Mexico, right? So these terminologies and all these other things, you know what I'm saying, are just the things that are dividing us. These so-called languages and barriers and all these other things, and fake ass lines that they draw up in their little meetings that they have, you know what I'm saying, is once we start believing their lines, then that's when they're winning. You know what I'm saying? So it's always ironic to me that immigrants like Trump are sitting around telling people that were already on the land when he came here how to live, how to move, and where they can and come to. So I just think it's interesting that that when they do that, you know what I mean? Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I got it.
Real quick, I got a couple of things I want to read real quick, and I guess we can build from this. I don't know how long we're gonna be rocking, but it's all good. Just want to read this. All right, so this is something. Let me see. Hold on, let me open this up. So this is called. This is a document that I found, right, and it tells you about the South Carolina people, right? So look, it says the large population on the coast of South Carolina is quite different from this here described. The mayor Bruford says that the town is remarkable, quite in good order. For 20 years past, not a single individual has killed or seriously injured in any disturbance within the corporate limits. It's saying the handbook, South Carolina. This is the statement of the mayor of Beaufort, and Beaufort is perhaps the blackest spot of the whole South. That is to say that the Negro population predominates more there, though anywhere else. It's saying there is a peculiar history, fact connected with that town that I would like to mention to the convention. That is the place where the federal troops first set the Negroes free. Now, this is what they saying. It's saying it was done on these islands in the neighborhood of Beaufort, and they are now here the predominant race, and this man refers to them as a quiet community. The most peculiar thing is in his book on the human race asserts the fact that Africans lived in these islands long before the discovery of America by Columbus. Now, you heard that, right? He said that now they wasn't Africans. They was already there. But he's going to say they was African. Now, he's saying the more peculiar thing in his book is the fact that Africans lived in these islands long before the discovery of America and Christopher Columbus. He is high authority, and he say that the Yamasee Indians were Negroes. What were known afterwards as the fiercest Indians of the South. The well-known Yamasee Indians were African. Were they not African? They was Negroes. Okay, let's stop it. Okay, now it says something right here. It says, M. Phillips. It is a fact that there were much darker than any other Indians. Okay. Now the question is, and their hair was different too. So what I always talk about, the hair, right? It says, so it is stated that one of the most distinguished ethnologists in the world, another core, I can't because the word is kind of choppy, so I'm trying to make them out. It's saying proof is that the Spanish found that Negroes was equal to 10 Indians for work. All right, this is something else, but it tells you right here. It's saying that they already found so-called black people in them islands of South Carolina where the Gitche-Gullah people claim they from. Now let's just touch it. Let's touch it one more time just so people can hear it. It says in his book, it's a human race asserts the fact that Africans lived in these islands long before the discovery of America. Okay? And it is highly authority that he says that the Yamasee Indians were Negroes. Come on, man. And it, like I said, so the Yamasee was, remember, now hold up. Let's go to the other article now. Let's go to this real quick. Let me read through this real quick. All right, so the Yamasee War. We're gonna jump to this and we're gonna get a little understanding with the Yamasee War. All right, so this is the Yamasee War, 1715, 1717. The Yamasee War, also spelled the Yamasee War, it said was a conflict between the British settlers and the colonial South Carolina, various Native American tribes, which we already said they was black. It said including the Yamasee, the Muskogee, the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Catawba, the Apache, the Appalachia, the Ute, Savannah River, the Shawnee, the Congree. Now you had a tribe called the Congree that looked like Congression, okay, Waxhaw, PD, Cape Fear, Carole, and others. Some of the American Indian groups played a minor role while others launched attacks on South Carolina in an attempt to destroy the colony. Native Americans killed hundreds of colonists and destroyed many of the settlements. Traders in the fields were killed throughout the whole Southeast United States, abandoning settlers' frontier. People fled to Charlestown where starvation set in, the supplies ran low. The survival of the South Carolina colony was the question during 1750. The tide turned in the early 1760s when the Cherokee sided with the colonists against the Creek. Okay, it's saying the traditional enemy, the last of the South Carolina major North Carolina. I'm sorry. Let me read that again. The last of South Carolina major Native American foes withdrew from the conflict in 1717. It's saying bringing a fragile peace to the colony. The Yamasee War was one of the most disruptive and transformational conflicts of the colonial America. It was one of American Indians' most serious challenges to European dominance. For over a year, the colonies faced the possible annihilation. About 7% of South Carolina white citizens was killed, making the war, the bloodier than the King Philip War, which is often cited in North America as the bloodiest war involving Native American. The geographical situation of the British, the Spanish, the French, as well as Indian groups of the Southeast and racial alter. The war marks the end of the early colonial era of the American South. The Yamasee War aftermath contribute to emergence of new Indian confederation nations such as the Muscogee Creek and the Catawba. The origins of the war was complex. The reason for fighting differed among the Indian groups who participated. Commitment differed as well. Factors include land encroachment by Europeans, the trading system, trader abuse, the Indian slave trade, the depletion of dares, increasing Indian debt in contrast to increasing wealth among some colonists, the spread of rice plantation agriculture. Okay? It's saying now this is all in their colony. They telling you that the Africans came here and bought the rice here. The French power in Louisiana offering the alternative to the British trade. Long established Indian links in Spanish Florida. It's saying varying for the power among Indian groups, as well as the increasing large scale of the robust intertribal communication network and recent experiences in military collaboration among previous distant tribes. All right, now let's go into some more of this. So you see, this is where the Yamasee was at. You see where they was at right here? All this is with South Carolina, North Carolina region, Georgia region. Okay, you see it right here in this area right here. When they come in, boom, the British come in. They was trading with them at first, but then I guess they was swindling them in some cases. And let's read some more. All right, so the Tuscarora War is saying, and lengthy aftermath played a major role in the outbreak of the Yamasee. The Tuscarora and the Iroquoian speaking tribes of the interior began attacking the colonial settlement in North Carolina in 1711. South Carolina settled, mustered armies, and campaigned twice against the Tuscarora in 1712 and 1713. These armies was made up of mainly the allied Indian troops. The Yamasees the Yamasee had been strong military allies of South Carolina colonists for many years. The Yamasee War made up the core of both Carolina armies. Other Indians were recruited over the large area from the device tribes that in some cases were traditional enemies of one another. It's saying tribes that sent warriors to South Carolina army included the Yamasee, the Catawba, the Yuchi, the Appalachee, the War-Tree, and some other tribes. I ain't going to say all the tribes, but the military. Well, hold on, let me see something real quick. Hold up 1 second.
Yo,
Yeah.
man, you saying about a lot of stuff right there, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to go past it.
Go
But
ahead.
when we're talking about Yamasee, right?
Mm-hmm.
It always makes me think of Hebrew, Yah. You know what I'm saying? Can you shed any light on that?
I mean, like, you got to understand too. Remember, all them tribes was together. Even though that some of them might have been warring each other, they all had some of the same cultural practices. So now, if we saying that the Cherokee, they saying that, I pulled up an article and they saying that the Cherokee spoke Paleo Hebrew. Now I'm starting to find traces of so-called Phoenician within the Cherokee or the Chickamauga. Let's say the Chickamauga, because the Cherokees are white people who created that tribe. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they never referred to none of the Southeast tribes as Indians, man. And when you really understand this, you start seeing that they was calling us something else. Yeah, here. And I let
so they
people
was in the 1711 in the 1800s. They was not called Native Americans.
Hell no, they wasn't calling them. They start calling us Indians. They ain't
That's
start
right.
calling us Indians until after the 1800s, man. They never call people Indian. And like I said, you got people who got Indian on their birth certificates, but for the most part, that was
That's
a
right.
term that came later, man. That was a term came later. And like I said, man, a lot of people don't want to accept that they was calling a lot of people here Moors, man. And like I said, I can't go away from that because I'm a researcher, and when I find it, I have to report it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm talking about
Now,
these, but
we're
even when you
talking
see,
Dutch and British though, right?
well,
Because obviously the Spanish speaking or Latin speaking people wouldn't use the more term, but it's just them once again, like we're saying, coming in and changing terminology. Just a more
yeah,
another
but
descriptive
they
term.
already was known. But see, that's the thing. What people can't
Right.
accept, man, because we was already known. Like the same way how you create black people now, they was already calling people every black person non-European or more.
No,
They
I
was
understand exactly what you're saying.
they
I
was
get it.
already doing that, but that ain't got nothing to do with what we think now, and that's why I keep putting emphasis on it. If I pull up the Yamasee picture, you see motherfuckers with red hats on, and you see a red flag flying in the back, and they fighting the British. So I'm not qualified to tell you what that means, but I'm like, I'm under, and like I said, look, let me see something real quick. Where we at? Let me go back. Hold up. Let me see something real quick. All right, just bear with me real quick, Chief. Let me see something. Let me find something.
We're gonna go in on this, y'all.
I think it might be on this one right here. But see, the key thing to all of this is, right, the fact that the Yamasee was enslaved. Now look, now this is in South Carolina, the same place where the Yamasee supposed to have been at. And this describes what these people was eating, man. And it tells you the same thing like I told people yesterday. You had mad people in the comment that know they eat stuff like grits. Like this is some of the practices and what they said to people. This is in South Carolina where the Yamasee traditional were, right? So they got mounds there. And when they dug out the mounds, the remains of what the people was eating, they said they had a diet high in grits. They said they had a diet high in grits. It said of shellfish and significant samples. It said more later. So they telling you that they was eating shellfish. You know, niggas in the South eat fish and grits. And when you go here, it tells you that people was eating the same stuff that your ancestors eat now. Bear meat, white-tailed deer, opossum, raccoon, beaver, bobcat, turkey, alligator, surgeon, drumfish, blue crab, and Virginia oysters. Now, blue crab we eat, turkey we eat, niggas eat alligator, opossum, raccoon, beaver. This is stuff that I know people eat now. Now, I don't know too much about, like I said, niggas was in the South eating oysters like that, but I assume that they probably was. But back to the Yamasee. So, what's interesting to understand when you're dealing with the Yamasees, right? The Yamasees was enslaved, man, and they not. Let me see something real quick. I'm trying to skip to that because I didn't want to read through everything. We're trying to get to the good part where the Yamasees was enslaved. Now this is in 1715, my dude, and they telling you that they was enslaving these people after they lost the war. They enslaved them. Hold up, let me see something.
So also another thing they try to do too. 1715, the United States didn't exist. So now we're talking British, Spanish, and French colonies. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about maroon colonies, like I can actually show you maps, Spanish maps that say maroon colonies. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So they're not talking about runaway colonies, y'all, or wild Indian colonies. They're talking about the descriptive term of our people. So once again, we can't get caught up. We are the people. We are the people who wrote the Constitution. We are the people that created this shit, y'all. So in order for us to tap in, we have to know that, and that it's not foreign to us, that we created it. They didn't bring it here. They didn't bring it here at all. So they didn't even bring the spirituality side of it or whatever. The Puritans and these people just came and started taking over stuff and started oppressing people with their beliefs, like one wife and so on and so forth. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And how to move and how and go away from your ancestors and go to their people. And that's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to our ancestors, your personal ancestors. And you're going to be an ancestor one day and hopefully you don't leave here and not have done anything for the culture, for the future of your people. You feel me? That's how important it is. Your people, yeah, of your personal people. You're going to be an ancestor one day, and hopefully, you've been done something that's worthy of praise and worthy of passing down. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do this for the glory, for the honor of our ancestors, y'all. You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact. That's a fact.
Right.
And then, like you said, so when we talking about the Yamasee, we already just pulled up another article that told you that this guy saying that it was Africans in them islands, the same place where the Gitche people claim they from. They telling you that in his book, the human race asserts the fact that Africans lived in these islands. Talking about now, remember they weren't Africans. These people been there, okay? But they want to tell you
Right.
that because they want to try to give you an assertion of why is black people here. But they always going to say they can never be Americans, even though that you calling us the people here been here longer than you been here. They never been called that, but you could keep calling them Africans. And like I said, even when we looked at the research yesterday, the bill I did, it tells you that all of the South American skulls that they found either is sub-Saharan African, Australian,
Uh-oh.
or Melanesian. That's what they said.
Right.
All of them. Now this is no. Listen, see. This is all the ones they find in South America. Now they saying in North America they find Mongoloids and they find so-called Negroes or whatever you want to call them. But in South America alone, they saying that the people there resemble. Now listen. Now think about this, Chief. This is what I said, right? Now think about this, right? Now when you think they say that the people of North America have more North Asian DNA in them. This is what they saying, right? Now look, listen to this, Chief, right? You with me, Chief?
Yes, sir.
All right, so they said that the people of North America got more with the Mongoloids. They're saying that they got more Northern Asian DNA, right? Now think about this. When the people, just like if we go into Africa, right? If we go to South Africa, North Africa, and West Africa, most of them people gonna have similar DNA. You understand what I'm saying? They're gonna have similar DNA. So how the fuck do some people in Southeast Asia and people in Northeast Asia don't have similar DNA? And then you comparing because you telling us that the people in Southeast Asia was Negroes. All of them people who was there, the Fijis, Melanesian, Papua New Guinea, all of them people was Negroes. All of them. And then the funny thing is, none
Right.
of them look like the Australians. The Papua New Guinea people don't look like no black people on the planet look like the Australians. That's why we can specifically say that, because I have never seen. Have you ever seen a black person look like Australian?
Well, you know, right, that the just like any other places, you know, when they show the Australian people, they don't show the actual full-blooded ones. They show the mixed ones. Shout out to Dr. Runoko Rashidi. He talks about they don't even like to be called Aborigines. They like to be called black fellas. So when you see these, you know, and I seen a documentary, right, and they were talking about the prison system down there and how they were reforming people and stuff, because they have the Aborigines down there have like a 99% imprisonment rate, right? A 99% unemployment rate, which matches their prison rate. I can't make this up, y'all. It's fucking crazy. So they're in prison. They have so much drugs and hopelessness and whatever, you know. So they're being gentrified, or not
So where they
gentrified,
get
but
drugs from?
exterminated.
So how drugs get over there to that country? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
that part.
that, you know what I'm saying? But that's the thing though. See, that's what I'm telling you. In the southeast, in the southeast tribes, either they refer to them as Aborigines. That's it. That's everywhere I'm finding. Everything I'm finding is talking. They not comparing. They not calling the Mongoloids Aborigines. They only calling the people of the
That's right.
southeast Aborigines. Now, even when I go back into this book right here, let me see. Let me go
Shout out
back
to
up.
Scott Beason.
See this? Even when I go back to this book, it says the aboriginal substance technology of southeastern coastal plains. Okay, so they calling it, and even through the whole book, is calling you Aborigines, right? But look, I just found this picture right here, right? And I just found this to be funny. Can you see this picture right here, Chief?
Yep.
Just take a look at it. Stay there for a minute. Take a look at him. He got peacock feathers in his hair. That's a peacock feather in the hat. He got a pipe in his mouth. He got bow and arrow. He got the arrows on his back. And you see what it says? It says this nigga had MD crack shot. It say y'all. You see at the bottom? Look. It says y'all. You see it?
Yep.
And remember Yamasee. Yamasee.
Yeah. What I wanted to say about the Tuscarora too, because I was gonna get into the Tuscarora War, right, and talk about how one tribe helped the British, because like they didn't do it on their own, y'all. So we have never lost.
But that's what I just was saying. Though,
we've never lost to no outside powers. Oh, and also I wanted to say that they're calling these people Native Americans, right? They're calling the Tuscaroras, they're calling the Yamasee, they call the Seminole Native Americans, right? But guess what? Remember, the term Native American is a new term, 1900s term, right? So that means that the British were British, and that the people that they were calling Native Americans or Yamasees or whatever were actually the Americans.
So look, let me. You heard me. Let me finish. Let me read the rest of this right here, and we can build from here. Let's read the rest of this. All right. So the Indian aftermath. In the first year of the Yamasee War, lost about a quarter of their population, either killed or enslaved. Where are these enslaved Yamasees at now? Never mind. Let's keep it moving. The survivors moved to the Altamar River, a region that has been their homeland since, in the 17th century. But they were unable to find security there and soon became refugees. See, they couldn't find security there because they kept running and then they became refugees. So check this out. If they keep certain places, this is only certain places, because this doesn't apply to everything. Okay, in some places,
that's right.
This is what happened. They chased people off the land. In other places, they had contracts with Indians who allowed them to work these plantations, and they get taxed them. So just because this was happening in Yamasee here, don't mean that in another place they didn't have. If you was okay with the Europeans here, the Europeans was okay with you. You understand? But when you had a problem with them, is when the problem occurred. Now, if you chase these people off their traditional home and they become refugees, then they're going to be trying to find resources to survive. So you pushing these people further west. You pushing them away from the shoreline, away from these certain rivers that we was using to get our resources from. So you pushing these people into places where they become, well, for the most part, let me just finish this, right? So as the Yamasee people have always been, they say ethnically mixed, which we just said that they just said that it was already black people living there. When they say Africans, they saying it's a code word for black Indians. That was already there. The aftermath of the Yamasee War, they split apart. About a third of the survivors chose to settle among the Lower Creek, eventually becoming the emerging Creek Confederacy. Most of the rest joined the refugees and moved to the vicinity of St. August in the summer of 1715. Despite several attempts to make peace by the South Carolina and the Yamasee individuals, conflict between the two continued for decades. The Yamasee of the Spanish Florida were in time weakened by disease and other factors. The survivors became part of the Seminoles. Various Proto-Creek Muskegon tribes grew closer after the Yamasee War. The reoccupation of the Chattahoochee River and the Old Chase Creek, along with the remnants of the Appalachee and Yamasees and others, seemed to Europeans to represent a new Indian identity and needed a new name. okay, and needed a new name, the Cherokee. It's saying to the Spanish, it seems like a reincarnation of the Apalachicola province in 17th century. The English term Creek became common. The Catawba absorbed many of the remnants of the northern or prominent tribes like the Chawara and the Congri and the Santi, the Pudi and the Waxhaw. Okay, but like I said, for the most part, they telling you like a lot of them tribes became slaves, man, and a lot of the ones that didn't become slaves. Well, and remember, the word slave also meant employee. So don't think that the word slave meant a motherfucker was always whipping you with a whip. The only
Fact.
people who knew how to farm the land was the Indians. So they always needed to employ them. The only people knew how to farm the land. And this is what I'm saying. See, people, they want to tell you that them people was farmers already. And that's why when I was talking to Queen Quet, I'm like, listen, so was it black people there? She agreed with me. So your people, so you just not the black. I mean, I'm confused. Because when I was talking to her, I asked, I said, look, was it black people in South Carolina before Columbus, guys? She said, most definitely. So why are you saying you descendants of Africans? Then she hit me with the, well, we all, no, we not all Africans. America got a highly civilization. Listen, if I'm reading this, let's go somewhere real quick. Let me see something real quick.
Talk to him.
Let me see something real quick. All right, so American nations right here, right? So we was already reading this shit, right, from yesterday, right? So it tells you the description of what the people look like. It said the complexions and elsewhere is yellow, olive. We already talked about yellow. Motherfucker could be a light-skinned nigga like me. Okay? Olive. We never seen a green nigga before. So we have to make the assumption that the olives that they're talking about is either brown or black olives. Coppery, tawny,
right.
brown. And it said either blackened or Negro-like. Okay? So let's go down, son. Now it says the America had long before Columbus large cities built of stone, brick, and wood, with walls, ditches, temples, and palaces, some of which was the immense size of and population. Oh, excuse me. It said one of them, the Attalum, near the Plowquay, was 28 miles long, equally to the tribes of Babylon. Nearly all the ancient sciences and useful primitive arts was known in America, as well as commerce, navigational. See, you niggas just thought you just sat in there and just sat next to the fire with your legs crossed with a feather in your head. No. Commerce, navigation, symbology, alphabet and writing, and nearly all Asiatic religions. The most civilized nations had even colleges, you stupid motherfuckers, and universities, canals, paved roads, splendid temples, and monuments. That's it. Drop the mic. Got places in Africa now don't have fucking paved roads, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? We the black guys here. We the black guys. And how you know this? Because everybody want to be you. 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 So that's how you know you the black god. So, like I said, man, you know, when we talk about the Yamasees, we know the Yamasees became, the Yamasee and Tuscarora was the same tribes to me. But like we said, this they telling you, we just read an article which already said it was black people in the islands already. So what are we being told? Why is the Gitche-Gola people saying that they're Africans? Oh, we brought rice here. No, rice always been in America. What are you talking about? And you got these niggas walking around looking like Aunt Jemima and shit with long ass Aunt Jemima skirts on and fucking do rags on and shit or whatever, thinking they Africans. But you got the same diet of the same people who got here. And like I said, when I was talking to her, she said, well, we mixed with some. Well, what did the Indians look like you mixed with? Tell me, please. What do they look like? She ain't had no answer for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was already like rushing her with mad questions. But like I said, at the end of the day, man, they get said we could. I mean, we could finish it off with this because I know the chief said he only had a couple. One more time. So it said a large Negro population on the coast of South Carolina is quite different from this here described. Now, when you go down, it's saying it's saying a more peculiar thing in his book on the human race asserts the fact that Africans lived in these islands long before Christopher Columbus discovered America. Okay, so that means long before the British got here. So wouldn't that make sense that when the British got there, they tried to take their fucking land and them people was warned against them and they pushed some of them back into the Gulf?
Facts.
Which one is he? What was it? Black? So why are you not connecting yourself to the black people that was here? Why are you always connecting yourself to the black people that came here on the boat or that you think came here on the boat? See how that work? See how easy that is? You connect yourself with the African side of the story, but when it comes to the black people that was, they died, they all died. But these super Africans was able to make it here and then hit the ground running. They didn't catch diseases. They was able to withstand any of the thing that the European had. They didn't catch diseases. They was able to get right off the boat and work, but yet the people who've been living amongst these people couldn't develop some type of immunity to these diseases. But yet people got right off the fuck. And think about it like this, right? When your ass go to Africa, you got to get immunization shots, my brother. Because of the way they are. And the way that they living over there. You got to get immunization to get your body receptive to be able to combat the certain viruses and stuff that coming from out of them. So I'm just saying, man, like, love yourself, man. Love the Americas, man. You know what I'm saying? And stop claiming that we are something that we not, man. And like you said, man, at the end of the day, man, the history is dead, man. The history is dead. And what they doing is trying to confuse you. When it comes to people in South America, they could be, because, hey, Chief, listen to this too, right? Chief.
I'm here.
They giving us three. Now think about this. Let's use our brain, right? Just lose our brain. The way they telling us with DNA that our DNA only matches up with people from West Africa, right?
Right.
But yet you giving us three different types of Negroes who, according to DNA, should all have different DNA. A sub-Saharan Africa got different DNA from an Australian, and the Australian got different DNA from a Melanesian, according to what they're telling us. So how are you saying that, in South America, we only find people of Melanesian descent, Australian, or sub-Saharan African? Fuck out of here. They making this shit up, my dude.
Facts. Like, if people migrated, right? Let's just go with this, right? Remember, Spain is 9 actual miles, like literally 9 miles from the north coast of so-called Africa, right? So what you're telling me is that when those people left out of so-called Africa and went into Spain, their DNA changed just so drastically, and that those people's DNA is different than the people that are 9 miles from today, right? But the people in Australia are way over here is closer to those people than the people that are actually 9 miles away. So now George Lopez has a 55% European DNA, right? From Spain, because that's what he believes. Europe is Spain for him, but it's actually Germany. Okay? Places like that, also who created mestizos, brother. Like, let's just be clear on this, right? So, a lot of times, man, once again, people are falling into these caste systems because they don't understand who the original people were when they came here, because they're making up these terms like Native Americans, Indians, you know what I'm saying? And so people say, Indian, that's Tonto, or that's a mixed person. So now you creating a whole DNA for a mixed person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Blake Griffin has a new DNA stream now. Like, come on, y'all. Like, that don't make sense. Yeah, they just guessing and they doing dumb shit.
Yeah, you guys, they just guessing and they using the computers. They're using the computers to try to get a more a more educated guess or the more sophisticated guess, but it's still a guess. If you look at the word haplogroup, okay, most of these biologists and most of these weirdos don't know that haplogroup is a mathematical word. Okay, the word group is already implying more than two. Okay, traditionally more than two, so it is a mathematical word. So just by knowing the word haplogroup is already telling me, and people who you know what I'm saying, people who understand math is already telling me that you're using that you're using an estimation. That's like me saying oh man, I saw about 6 cars last night. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of guessing. You know what I'm saying? So the word group is already a guesstimation word. So when they say haplogroup, they're just basically saying, they're basically letting you know right off the bat that we're guessing. But then when you look inside, how many singles make up a group? And then when you look inside the group, there's groups inside that group. So how many singles make up that group? And then they got groups inside that group. Okay, then how many singles make up that group? So it's they're guessing, you guys, and they're using the computers to help them get better guesses, but they're guessing. You see what I'm saying? The word haplogroup, it is a mathematical word. It is not a biology word. It is for math. You dumbass niggas. They don't know what they talking about, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sick of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, I usually just sit back, but I'm sick of this shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're trying to use the computers to get more and more, get better guesses. But at the end of the day, they're guessing. So anytime these motherfuckers come with you with this haplogroup and all these little ass words, bro, that's a mathematical word. Okay, you're trying to turn it into a biology word. Groups is traditionally more than 3. Okay, so if you can't come with no solid numbers and you can't come correct, then you're guessing. So all that shit is fucked up. But the simple fact that they did found something. Oh yeah. They did found something. They found some patterns in something. Okay, but what exactly did you find? Or what are you trying to use it for? You know what I'm saying? There's so much different shit that can just break down and bring down this shit. But it takes more than a couple people. You know what I'm saying? To get it.
Right.
But they're guessing, you guys. So when they come with you with this DNA shit, they're using computers now to do more efficient guessing.
Let me ask you a question though. Like I remember you used to go here on the Omex, right? And I wanted to ask A1 this too. When we're talking about the Omex, right? Like it's kind of like a consensus among scientists that the Omex or the mothers and fathers of every tribe that's in America. I don't know why that's not talked about more, because I see a lot of scientists hint towards it, like, well, we see this, in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, Florida and Mississippi is a part of the Gulf of Mexico as well, right? So when you start seeing the Olmec culture, they try to throw it off to the Mayan, right? Because we were talking about that earlier, but the Mayans are children of the Olmecs. So I just kind of wanted you guys to want to talk about that a little bit. But do you understand what I'm saying, though, Ty? Like everything that you're saying, that they don't never test us with people in Brazil. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to push us over to Africa, and then they say, "Oh, we match you with one person from over here, not thousands of people and stuff like that." So I just think it's interesting. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to touch on that though a little bit.
Okay. Well, I mean, just the Omax in particular, that you can already when it comes to the Omax skulls, like their findings. Okay, what they usually do is they usually find, sometimes they find a series of skull, and what they would do, they will make one of them famous, like Naya. You know what I'm saying? They found Naya with a group of people. You see what I'm saying? And so they would take the one that best benefits them, and they would say, okay, we're going to do this one. You see what I'm saying? What about the other ones? You know what I'm saying? What about the other ones? So then when they say, oh, it was a bunch of skulls and this was the oldest, you know how they said that, right? Well, it was a whole bunch of skulls, but this was the oldest. How is that? How does that work? You mean to tell me that it was a bunch of people in there with her, and then she was just like 3,000 years older than them and shit? Like what? You know what I'm saying? Who was them people? You see what I'm saying? Who is the people that she was in there with? Can we get some information on them? So what they usually do is they usually have these one particular skulls that they make them famous, and they extract DNA out of them. But then when you look at, you know what I'm saying, when you look at the ones that's not famous, when you look at the ones that they don't talk about, you know what I'm saying, what are they DNA samples as? You know what I'm saying? So Google some of that stuff. You know, Google some of the people that was found with Naya. So when you look at the geographical location of the Omax, that's the only thing I can really talk about. It really is the geographic location. It was found right there by Naya. Not too far from, you know what I'm saying, miles and miles away from Idaho, not too far from Idaho. It was found in North America. So the Omax, I don't know, like I can't really get too into it without start getting probabilities and shit. But the geographical location of where they was at, it tells everything you need to know. You know what I'm saying? It tells everything you need to know. It's right by
Well,
Guatemala. Is
that's
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
that's North America too.
Right,
Mexico is North
I know,
America.
it's North
Okay,
America. So,
I want to put that out there.
right, it's all North America. It's not too far from Florida. It's not too far from Texas. It's right there in the center. So I can't really say anything 100% besides the geographical location. Should be able to open up a lot of different
Tadeda.
probabilities and facts.
Tadeda.
Yeah.
So do you understand what I'm saying though, as far as by them with the word playing, if they say, oh, we found this Mayan culture in fucking Alabama, right? Or Florida, for instance, right? We know this is Mayan pottery, for instance, right? But they bypass the Mayans' grandparents. You understand what I'm saying? So and because they understand that the Olmecs were Negro people. Even if they, shout out to Dr. Ivan Van Sodom, even if they try to say they came here, you know what I'm saying? We understand that this tribe, these people were the progenitors of all other tribes that are here. You know what I'm saying? And other, now you guys mixtures, because like keep in mind, you have the original people that were here, then you have different mixtures of different people who came here. Right? So we'll be calling these people mestizos. We got to stick to that. We cannot make up a new race of people called Mongoloids when we have a mixed people. You know what I'm saying? So, make it right. So that's the thing. So yeah, man. Like I said, we gotta work past these
Right. Well, one thing about the Omax, when they look at the Omax and they do the criminology and all that stuff on the Omax, what they usually do is they usually don't widen the search. When it came to Naya and when it came to Lucia, the studies that they did is they widened the search, so they look in more and more places. And as they go out and they look with more and more places, what they do is it makes Naya and them skull lines up in their little probability with Native Americans. But they don't do that with the Omax, because if they take the Omax and they widen the search of their cranials and they widen the search, they get less and less and less like Native Americans. So what they usually do is they say, well, the people around this area look like that. But why you don't use that same methodology on Naya? You see what I'm saying? Why you don't use the same methodology and treat the Omax the same way you do Naya? Why don't you take the Omax skulls and why don't you take the Omax findings and why don't you do a broad search just like you did Naya and them, and let's see how far away that it match up with the shit you're saying. So they take some of the methods and they switch them as they see fit. If you understand what I'm saying, if you're gonna understand when the dude was reading and some of their claims. So they'll find the skull like Naya and they say, well, this don't make sense. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna search farther, and they be searching all over East Asia and all over this place, and they say, okay, we found something in Tanzania kind of like this. So they like, okay, well then if they over there kind of look like this, and if they way over there kind of look like this, then I can see why this can be some type of weird ass, predated or some predated mongoloid. But then when it comes to the Omax, they don't do that. They don't take the Omax skulls and their Omax features and the Omax heads and all that and the actual and the actual skulls. They don't do world renowned searches on them, because they know the world renowned searches it's gonna pretty much go against everything they said. So they keep that local. They say, well, people around here look like that. There's people around here. Those are tropical features and this and that. So why come those tropical features didn't apply to Naya? You see what I'm saying? Why couldn't you say that with Naya? Why come you had to go way the fuck over to Tanzania to make your point? You see what I'm saying? So it's they got it wrapped up tight, bro. They got a
What's
rapping
that?
type.
Ty Data, what you talking about?
I'm talking about how they use the different methods to fit whatever they talking about. One minute they throw they throw the measurement of the skull in the garbage. The next minute they use that same methodology connect
Oh,
to
you must say read the shit I was reading yesterday.
what happened
You didn't read. Okay, let me just go back. Let me go back.
about the about you
The
talking about
finds that they found in South America, man. That's the
the
main
new
thing.
ones the new ones.
The new ones, yeah, but like just in South America alone, like this. Remember the human remains found in Bogota, Colombia. All right, now this is the
Central
late
America.
survival. Yeah, so this right here, look. But look, when you go down and you see what these people look like, they're gonna tell you Melanesian or sub-Saharan African. And like I said, right here. So we right here. We go down right here. It's gonna say, look, right here. Listen to this. I'm saying it is known that the cranial morphology of the first humans who entered the continent was very different from the pattern prevalent in later times. Okay, the Bering Straits. It's saying as currently in America and East Asia, these findings suggest that the New World has been colonized by two different biographical populations, both coming from Asia, one exhibiting cranial morphology, one more similar to that of the first human, and still maintain in African Melanesians today. So they telling you the people of South America is different from the finds they finding in the plains, because they're not getting none of these finds from South. They see, this is the thing. The original Indians they encountered are already classified as Negroes, and they already know that. So they don't even talk about the history of the Southeast. They go right to the Middle Plains. When any motherfucker with common sense would say, well, you came to Virginia first. What happened to all these people who was in Virginia, in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida? You sent all these people to the Trail of Tears when you telling us you only sent 4,000 people there?
Right.
So even in here, so now I got another article right here, right?
So what they would do is they would because that article right there don't support their argument. What they would do, they would say, well, craniology is old now. We don't use that anymore. But then when they bring up their findings and their claims, you say, well, how's you connecting this to this? They use craniology to do it.
But Ty Data, but listen, but check it out. Think about this, right? Think about this. Think about how they trying to play this. One group of people they saying come from Northern Asia. The other group of people come from South Asia. South Asians will be the Melanesians, the Australians, the Fijis, and all them people, right? So when you make the connection, because even when we go in some of these Melanesian and some of these countries, we still can find Asian looking people there, along with the Negroes that's there too. So when you say, well, boom, being as though that these two Southeast Asian these two Asian countries, or these two findings are found in the same place, why don't they have the same fucking DNA? Because they telling you they different people.
Well, I want to address the Asian thing too, though. Okay, so when we're talking about the modern Asian people, like we're saying, aren't the original Asian people, right? And there's a date attached to that too. There's math attached to that too, according to China, according to Japan, according to Vietnam, according to Cambodia, and they have artifacts and bones to back up what I'm saying too, right? Mm-hmm. So we can't account, once again, that make you think that Mongolians walked across the Bering Strait.
Oh, I got this right here, Chief. Chief, stop it right there. Just stop it right there.
Hold on, let me get the screen ready. Let me get the screen ready for you. My bad.
This is lose your cousin, right? This is the article saying lose your cousin. Look, this is what the article says. It say lose your cousins. Look at it. Lose your cousins. Now look, I'm gonna read a little bit, so just give me a second. The Lusier family does not stop growing. The skull of the prehistoric young women was discovered in Pedro La Paldro in a municipality in Environs in whatever, I can't pronounce that shit, but it's in the minimas or something, 30 years ago. And today it features one of the most ancient remains of original colonizers of America. The last batch of human remnants incorporated into a clan are the 31 skulls found. Now look, the 31 skulls found. Look,
found.
the 31 skulls found 160 years ago by the Danish naturalist Peter Long. Okay, now it's saying in 1801 through 1880 in a cave from Samduraro something, Laguna or whatever, Louisiana homeland. Now look, it say well preserved the skulls which are to be found in the Zoology Museum in the University of Copenhagen. It's saying were personally examined by bioarchaeologist Walter Neves, right, from the Bioscience Institute of the University of San Paulo. It's saying and classified with the help of a computer model and as belonging to the Paleo Indians with the traits similar to Lucia, whose age is roughly around 11,000 years. Broad nose, eye sockets, and face joint. Listen to this, right? It's saying, and the head thin and elongated, right? So the material we know have data out of the physical characteristics of 81 skulls from the Laguna Santa, the largest sample of ancient skeletons of America, says Neve. It's saying who on December 12, 2005 published an article on themes in the electric edition of American Scientific magazine, proceeding the National Academic Science. All right, so let's keep it going. So it's saying this set of bones from skeletons from Brazil, prehistorical, made up 42 men and 39 women, with the age estimated or dated at least between 7,000 to 11,000 years. Challenges the most accepted theory, the first inhabitants of the New World. The skulls from the regions of the MENA is saying indicate that the original discoveries of America had like Lucia features, and recall that the present day Aborigines of Australia, or blacks of Africa, okay, or blacks of Africa, they saying all them fucking skulls look similar to the same. It's saying although it is possible to know what color the skin were, it's saying whether light or dark. It's saying nevertheless they were very different from the people of Asiatic origins with Oriental Mongoloid traits, usually described by most traditionalist anthropologists as the first humans to set foot on the continent. To classify the 8-eyed skulls from the MENA, it said as similar in terms of physical constitution and present-day inhabitant of Sub-Sahara and Oceania. Neves compared with the help of various computer models about 50 morphology perimeters of skeletons with the typical measurement of main ethnic groups that currently make up the population of the world. Now it's telling you right here. It says the features that recall those of the present day Aborigines of Australia and Black Africans. Now, why the DNA ain't coming up where they from? Why is it not saying, oh, they from? Like what?
Well, what they just did is they pick favorites. So they found a whole bunch of skulls. And what they would do, they would pick the one that best fit best fits the description that they wanted to fit to make inside their story. Out of 81 goddamn skulls.
No, he said no. Listen, listen.
So you can't do that in math. You can't pick out a favorite. You have
but Todd Data, he ain't picking out. Listen. Let me say this one more time. This set of bones from skeletons from Brazil prehistoric made up 42 men and 39 women. Now listen, which the age dated between 7,500 and 11,000 years. Now when you go down and go the skeleton regions, it's saying the original discovery of America had like Lucia features that
right Lucia features. So how's they attaching it to Lucia? How is it attached to Lucia without the storyline? So it really has no attachment to Louisiana without them telling us that.
No, they just saying that they still the same family found in the same place.
They
They
trying
got the
to say
same features.
right. They trying to say the features are. They trying to say the features are kind of the same, and this is Louisiana cousin.
But that's wonderful though. Because
Huh?
it's telling, that's wonderful because they're telling you that nonetheless they were very different from the people of Asiatic origin with Oriental Mongoloid traits. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, but see, they ain't got no proof of that though. They just saying that. You see what I'm saying? They ain't got no
They don't have
proof that they're related to her
look,
unless they
what
got
are we
something.
trying to prove? What are we trying to prove? We trying to prove that was Negroes here, right?
Well, that's already
Okay,
wrapped.
so we got 81 skulls here that look and features have similar that have features like Louisiana. And it's saying present day Aborigines of Australia or blacks of Africa. Let's stop it. I ain't saying you, but just in general. You understand what I'm saying? This shit is straightforward with what they saying.
Right, but they trying to make up for that. They trying to make up for saying that. They saying that, but then as you start reading, they're gonna make up for that. They're gonna undo
Well, it says it's
that.
impossible for them to know what color, but it don't matter.
You see what I'm saying? So they gonna tell you the truth, but then as you start reading, they gonna take that away. They gonna be like,
but DNA gonna tell you though. But if they see, that's the thing. How you gonna find some skulls and you gonna compare them to Africans and black and Australians, but then you gonna say that they're different from the? So obviously, what we already know, we already got the stories that it was already black people here, and that's in Brazil, South America, Colombia. Whether it's in North Carolina, South Carolina, it was already black people here. But nonetheless, though, this is 81 skulls that's similar to Louisiana. So when these niggas come with that one Louisiana skull, he got 81 of them that look the same. You understand what I'm saying? This, look, bro, this is a major finding right here.
Right.
This
and
is
they're
major.
classifying them. Yeah, and they're classifying them. So they classify as a Paleo Indian or something like that. So basically, right.
Hey.
So you telling me it wasn't no black people in Brazil when the Portuguese got there?
Right, but it's their job to try to take. They want to tell you that, and it's their job to try to take it away. So I'm pretty sure if you keep reading, they're gonna try to say, oh well, but it's gonna be another probability.
He said, but look, they said Australia to throw us off.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna try to take it away.
But it's all gravy because in the same breath, if you did the DNA sequence, you would know exactly what they are, unless the DNA sequence is a damn lie.
It's a guess.
Because how you saying you find other skulls and then you ain't even doing the DNA and you automatically saying these is Negroes? Because they are Negroes. If you've been doing this research,
that's a guess too. That's a guesstimation too.
What you mean?
No, sir.
Like the skull. The skull. That's a guesstimation too.
No, but what he's saying is this man is an expert at this. So let's say you study the bottom of sneakers and you study the different patterns of different sneakers. So when you see a pattern of the same track or whatever, you gonna assume that it had to be the same sneaker.
Right. That's,
you ain't gonna say, oh, these Air Force One tracks and this is a
assuming is a form of a guess too.
Yeah, but guess what though?
But they got some hard evidence. They got hard
evidence.
We're not guessing. We're not measurements. They're taking measurements and they got real numbers. So they're taking real numbers and matching them up with real numbers. You know what I'm saying? They're just not guessing right off the bat and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he said he ran them into a computer sequence.
Yeah.
Meaning that the computers took the actual size of the cranial and they compared it to the other cranial skulls that they found. And they came the same thing similar. They said with features. It ain't saying similar features. Or it's saying with features like her. And they ain't trying to allude and say that they not Australian or black African. Because like I said, if you take Australian DNA and mix it with black Africans DNA or with African DNA, the Africans that got what we call non-ether hair or what people call non-ether hair, it's going to come up different when you do the genetic sequence because Australians got hair more like Indians. They don't have the same texture hair. And then when you read most of these articles, they telling you, oh, these people ain't got the same hair, but you got all these Aborigines running around here. Oh, some of our people have straight hair. Well, line 10 of your family members up and you count how many of them got straight hair. And where the fuck did they get the straight hair from?
Right. You mean yeah, right. He talking people in India, you guys. So
No,
just to
I'm
let
talking
y'all know.
about Black Americans that say that they got straight hair in their family.
No, I'm
You
talking
want,
about I'm talking about when you say Australians got hair like Indians. You talking about they got hair
yeah, yeah,
like people in India, right?
exactly,
Right,
exactly.
right. I'm just letting people right.
But us here, when you see what I'm noticing about a lot of people within the Aborigine community is that because they showed you the Mongoloids first and they showed you dark Mongoloid, they never showed you the real Indians of the Southeast. So you don't know what they look like. You don't even know what they people is comparing, just like just like I seen a video with the powwows, the Shinnecock powwows, right? I think Phoenix Moon and Tasha C and a few other people went to the powwow. But in the powwows, you see obvious looking black people, but you see them stupid looking Mongoloids coming with them stupid dances. We was not doing that shit. We was not wearing none of that. That shit them Mongoloids running around here doing and them powwows dancing. We wasn't doing none of that shit. Because the images and the pictures that we got, and according to what we got, they wasn't wearing none of that shit. None of that shit that they saying. Columbus said these people was naked. Then we got pictures of them wearing grass skirts and feather crowns. So where the fuck did they get all this other shit that they wearing now? Them are not. See, and they bring all of these Mongoloids into these powwows to make it seem like, oh, they the original Indians and you the mixed one.
Right. A form.
See,
Big
I'm
Chief,
not
how you
going.
been,
I'm
Big
not.
Chief?
Me personally, I'm going to powwows to get questions, to get answers. And like I said, no shout out to the sisters do wonderful work. Shout out to them sisters or whatever. But I'm always in debate mode. I don't know why. It's just my spirit as a Sagittarius. I'm going there. I'm asking them particular questions. Was it black people here? Yes or no? I need to know this. I already found out my family. I already know my family work. I'm trying to find out, am I different from the other Negroes by me being Indians, or all the rest of the Negroes Indians? That's what I'm trying to find. I'm not trying to. I already did my family, so I'm trying to find out, is the rest of the Indians, the rest of the Negroes, the same as me? So I'm going to ask one of the Mongoloids. Look, my man. Let me ask you a question. You wasn't in the Southeast, right? Your people wasn't in Virginia, because we're not the same people, obviously. So you don't use my history and then claim it for yours, and then you get all the benefits from it, which they get all the benefits from
it. You know what's crazy though? But you know what's crazy though? That they can trace themselves back to Europe. Think about that. Y'all understand where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a mestizo, you're so close to your European ancestors that you can trace yourself back there. That's how they work. And so once again they fall within the caste system. And like I said, this is no hate, because like I said, if I'm going to a powwow, we're taking it over. We're not under nobody. And so that would be the problem.
Chief,
and if anybody have a problem with what I'm doing, how I'm moving, nigga, we're gonna be moving some furniture around at the powwow. If anybody got a problem,
Chief, let me ask you a question though.
He's got a problem with his granddaddy saying, I'm gonna have a problem. And I'm gonna pull out the bill.
Look, real quick, Chief. Real quick, Chief. I'm sorry. Real quick, Chief. Check this out, right? Look, I've been in New York 100,000 times. Been to all the boroughs, Staten Island, Long Island, upstate New York. I've been all over that motherfucker.
Brooklyn.
Okay, I've never seen Mongoloids there until now, until the Mexicans and all these other people starting to come there. I never seen Mongoloids there. So if there's no remnants of them there, and none of the people look like them, mean that these motherfuckers wasn't there. But why every time a powwow pop up, they running around dancing and shaking and doing all these stupid dances and shit? And then I seen the sisters walking through, sisters, you know what I'm saying, melanated sisters, black sisters, whatever. But what I'm saying is, my whole thing is, I'm not trying to be in cahoots with all that. Absolutely not, because these people are not telling us the real story. They want to tell us, oh well, we was. Oh no, fuck all that. Who was in the South? Was your people in the South? Yes or no? Because you got you claiming Because what they do in this history and what pisses me off about it is they skip over the fucking South. How the fuck do you skip over the first 200 and something years of the history you've been here and then go right to the Middle Plains and start showing us these motherfuckers out there? And then when people say they got Indian in them, they looking at them people like they come from them. That's have always been my argument in this community. That's why I can't understand certain people, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the community or whatever. And I'm not talking about the powwow situation. I'm just saying, just in general, when we see all these amalgamations of different people, all the amalgamations of people who came here and mixed in with us to a sense. And like you said, some brothers said East Indians were also in Virginia or whatever, and that would give an understanding of why some of them people look the way they look too when you see them some of them pictures. But that's pretty much what I'm off. I think they got another powwow coming up. The Seminole powwow normally be around the same time. They got another one coming up or whatever. Like I wouldn't mind going, but I'm going in. I have to go. I got questions for myself for me trying to understand and trying to find out. So my thing might not be nobody else's thing. People might be happy with saying no. I'm not, because I'm trying to figure this shit out. I'm trying to figure out, was it Negroes here or are we Africans? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So that's where I'm at, and that's the method to my madness. I'm not dissatisfied with finding out, do I got Indian in me, because I'm asking other black people and they all telling me they got Indian in them. And none of them look like none of the Indians that's out there in the West.
Well, this is what I, like I'm so convinced, like, you know what I'm saying, and it's not, there's nobody on the planet that can come and say anything different from me. So it's not even like I said, it's no question. Like we're here to teach, we're here to show you specifically who we are and how can we break this system. You know what I'm saying? And I think once the truth is there, right, then we can get to some solutions, some healing. Because right now you got motherfuckers in the Cherokee Nation, for instance, mad at Elizabeth Warren, but then to turn around and be mad that we're saying that we're Cherokee, that we're the original of these people. You understand what I'm saying? So they can't have it both ways. She can't be too light and we can't be too dark. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to get to the bottom of this caste system in order to be able to beat this thing. Because I think that's what I've never even heard it come out of nobody's mouth. Like, yo, this is the problem right here, this caste system. Nowhere. Whether it's Rwanda, wherever we talk about, skin bleaching, Sammy Sosa, whatever the fuck. Why is this man bleaching his skin? Why is Michael Jackson bleaching his skin? Why are people right here? Why are people so obsessed with light skin, right? And we have to examine these things. What's going on? It's the teaching. It's all the different things that they're using against us.
Indeed. But that's what I'm saying, though. But yeah, I mean, but when and think of and understand this too, right? When it comes to the hair thing, okay. I mean, you gotta be the choice of that yourself, because, like I said, I mean, I don't have nobody in my family with straight hair. I got people who got nappy hair who put shit in their hair and brush it and make their hair straight, but I don't have people who just got straight European hair. Now, we can alter our hair and fuck with our hair and do whatever we do with it. And like I said, I've been talking about this for years, and I know people tell me, oh, they got ancestors with people with straight hair. But how many of them do you got? Do you have a whole family of people with straight hair?
Yeah.
Do you have a whole family with people with straight hair? Or do you have one person, in your family who got that straight hair and everybody else got the same hair you got?
Nope, we all
got the same fucking hair. And the motherfuckers who got straight hair, the niggas who got straight hair in your family processed it. Or they put the oil in their hair and kept brushing it until it got straight enough. But once you wetting it back up and leave it nappy for a while, it's going to get kinky and turn back to an afro.
Well, for the people who still, who's still on the fence and still don't really understand, you know what I'm saying? We were everywhere. We were all over this planet. Far as the word Indian, I don't really, me personally, I don't identify too much with the word, but far as us being here in America and everywhere all over the world, there's a shadow of a doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we have the math on it. We have, you know what I'm saying, we have everything on it. But the thing is that when they come up with their methods, you know what I'm saying, and when they come up with their stories, most of these so-called scholars or whatever, they don't come up with their own method. You see what I'm saying? To go behind them and kind of go behind them and check the information. What they really do is they want somebody else to do it, and then they just read somebody else's. But see me, I'm in a position where if you tell me a story, I can come up with my own method to to see what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? And this is what these guys are not doing. They're not coming up with their own method of explaining the information. They're not coming up with their own method of deciphering the information. It's just go along and get along, go along and get along. You know what I'm saying? Until somebody like A1 come along, and then it's like, oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists, are. And then you say, okay, well, what method you're using to decipher this shit? They were like, I just read another article. So,
I'm a conspiracy theory when they tell you that the Yamasees, it was already blacks in them islands in South Carolina and Georgia. That we just read an article that says that, right? But then they try to enslave them same people who was called the Yamasee, and they went in and joined the Seminole. And then you telling us, oh, these are runaway Africans. No, it was already black people there. What are you talking about? Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to see. That's what the whole thing is about. The whole thing to me is about. I'm not trying to prove none of these other people was here. I'm trying to prove my people who look like me was here. Fuck all them other people. And let me say it again. Let me reverse it. Fuck all them other people. I'm only concerned about the ones that's classified as African Americans. Thank you very much. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm concerned about. Because all other people concerned about is their people.
Right.
But then when it comes to us, oh, you can we gotta sit here. We gotta sit here and play fair. When you know how when you was playing when you was young, the other kids wouldn't share their toys with you. But then when you got your toys, they expected to share their toys with. They expected you to share their toys with you. That's the same shit that's going on here. You got people who stealing your whole history. You got a whole tribe of people that's out there in the Midwest Plains and in Central and South America. When they talk about what happened here, they equate themselves to the British and what happened in the South. When you was never there. You was never there. They skipped over all that history, told you that they sent all them people there to Oklahoma when you didn't. When Andrew Jackson saying that if you give us jurisdiction, you can stay in the South.
Right. So yeah. But see, by us, about like by us being all over the place, it is kind of hard to determine, what I'm saying, us in a mathematical way, because we kind of all over the place. You know what I'm saying? We it's all type of shit going on nowadays, and so it's hard. It's kind of hard to determine. But when you look at the information, and you just look at it and you just kind of make sense of it, match it up with different types of, I guess I don't know what to call it.
Bro, we got 81. We just got 81 new skulls, man.
This is new. This is new.
I mean, it's new to me. Like I said, I have a bunch of these articles that I got saved that I'm popping them up. I never heard nobody talk. Chief, you talked about this before?
I heard somebody talking about it. I don't know how old it is though, but I heard somebody talking about something like that. He's comparing the skulls, the new skulls, and they labeling it as Paleo Indian. So I heard some bullshit like that.
This one right here says Australian or blacks of Africa.
Right.
That's what this says. Now, like I said, we could easily combat that story alone, but that tells you what these people was looking like. These people are not supposed to be over there. So that would tell me that the majority of the black people that's in Brazil now was there already.
Right. Point blank.
Stop telling me that. Yeah, but see, that's the thing.
Yep.
Stop telling me that African, and stop telling me, because people in Brazil got similar cultures to some of the people you see in the Yorubas and all these other tribes. That's all bullshit. Them people got our culture.
Yeah.
Hey, so check it out,
But they
right? So
wasn't
when we talk
supposed to be
about,
there. That was a good point.
I got you.
I mean,
So hey,
A1
check it
because
out
they
though.
wasn't supposed to be there. You
That's
see what I'm
right.
saying?
Hey,
So what are they
yo,
doing there? Regardless of
hold
what the
on,
hell they was, what the hell they wasn't
Ty.
supposed to. Yeah.
So check it out, right? So hey, listen, this is what's so crazy about this whole conversation, right? They found bone. So they say, oh, this is 16,000 years old. This is 12,000 years old, whatever, right? But
Right.
the problem with that is, right, they have evidence of man being in that location where they found the 13,000-year-old skull, right? Louisiana or whatever, right? They're saying they have depictions of these people depicting themselves that go back 100,000+ years in Brazil. So they
Mm-hmm.
know that man has been in America. They don't have to find the skull.
No.
But what they can do is confuse everybody to start playing with Paleo Indian, right? So
Right.
you remember, Indian is Tonto. So you automatically say, well, wait a minute. What's the fuck's Paleo? That's a time period. These are time periods that they're not telling you that this predates
So
Caucasian people, predates all these terminologies that they're making up. And that's the problem that we have. And once again, they're liars, they're cheating, they're lying again, then they're cheating again. See how this works?
Right. So
Because
basically,
the black
nobody's
fellas in
supposed to be there.
Australia, yeah,
Yeah.
like, I
That's right.
mean, that's
And
just,
they saying they
bro,
killed
it's
off all
crazy,
the
bro.
Indians.
Right.
So
Nobody's
all of
supposed
these,
to be there.
if it was black people there, they say, oh, we killed them all off and brought new people in. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of
Right.
here. And that's
Now,
what they
and the
doing.
crazy part about it, they beat, this I heard Les Vortex say this, so what they do, they just beat all the African out of us. Like, niggas just don't want to speak it no more, really. Like, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they took our language, and then they
Bro,
use it against us.
they said
Angolans. That's
they
the
said we had
Portuguese
paved
dialect, sir.
streets here, man. They said we had paved
Paved
streets
streets.
here with monuments, man. They said we had one city was 28 miles, man.
Where they do that at? And they saying
One
the
city,
Asians did it. They
but
saying
no,
the Asians did it.
no. They saying who did it? They saying we did it. They saying we did it. Look. Let me go back to that. Let me just show you this real quick. I
So the
don't think
Asians
you
built these monuments, huh? They built these big
was
ass.
you in a place to be when I was reading through this. Hold up, let me see something. I think it might
Yeah, I'll be
be.
in and out. I'll be in and out.
Let me see something. It's back over here. All right, hold up.
We got little Yos out there. We got Lotus out there.
Shout out
Shout
to
out
my
to
brother
Lotus.
B
Lotus.
Lee. We got executive sessions in the building. Where you been, man? California.
So,
Oh, you
what is
know
it,
Got
my brother?
trolling ass struggles on.
it's on this one. All right, it's on this one right here. All right, this is it right here.
McLean,
Oh no, it's not. It's
B
this
Lee,
one. All right, it's this one right here. Look, Todd Data. Look,
Original One,
listen to this. Todd
Chief
Data.
William
Look.
B in the building. We got People's Town in the building, y'all.
Todd Data. Check this out.
What they
Look, it says there was formerly in America as now tribes of all complexions. Right? It say elsewhere yellowish, mean could be a light skinned person.
Right.
Olive. You know, we said olives come in 3 different colors. We never seen a green person, so we can exclude that. A motherfucker talking about a green olive. They talking about the brown and black olives. Coppery,
That's right.
thorny, brown. It say even blackened or Negro like. Tall, dwarfish men, 8 feet to 4 feet tall. Now listen to this, right? Now it says, and when you get down here to the bottom right here, and the source is Samuel Constantine Rifenque, it says the America had long before Columbus large cities built of stone, brick, or wood with walls, ditches, temples, palaces. Okay, palaces.
Oh, A1.
Yes.
You just hit the nail on the head. Who else come in those colors and shapes and sizes? Who else?
Yeah, but who? Okay,
You see
along
what I'm
with the
saying?
people.
So you just cracked it right there.
Along with the people description, he's saying that they had large cities built of stone, ditches, temples, and palaces. Palaces is castles. Okay, now look, it says on the Antelum near Palenque was 28 miles long. Okay, it's saying the size of a monument, and nearly all ancient sciences, man, come from the Americas. It said as well as commerce, navigation, symbolic alphabet writing, nearly all the Asiatic religions, the most civilized nations had colleges and universities, canals, payrolls, splendid temples, and monuments. And that's yours truly here in America.
They talking
And
about
niggas,
here?
bro, my
I ain't
dude,
never heard. I ain't never heard them say America described like that.
I do this. I do this shit,
I
bro.
ain't never heard America described like
Bro,
that, bro.
I do this shit, my dude. I do this. I do this.
Damn, you
This is
saying
not
colleges and shit?
colleges and universities, son.
You
For real.
serious?
Colleges and universities, my dude.
I ain't never heard that, y'all.
Colleges.
That's right, bro.
I ain't never heard
College-
that.
Let's drop the mic. We can end it right now.
Yeah,
We can end
let's
it
go.
right-
Let's go. Let's right now.
Look, drop the mic. Look, we just found out that the Yamasee, they saying there was already black people in them islands. We just found Louisiana family members, which include 79 other skulls, 80 other skulls, which they're saying that all was either of the same people. Okay, now that's 81 skulls. Fuck Louisiana. We don't even need Louisiana no more. But we can use her family. This guy saying they all look alike. So we can get somebody Garfield saying, oh, well, this is no. He's saying Australian and black Africans. So what are you talking about?
And what they doing over here?
Exactly. What are they doing over here? We was told when nobody here.
You're right.
Nah, they over here inventing everything. They over here inventing everything. Over here living.
And lying to us at the same time.
Right.
And then give you a different name for a person who looks just like you, but because you think you're African, then look, they give you a different name for a person who looks just like you, but you think you're African, so you like, nah, that ain't me. Even though the motherfucker look just like you so fucking stupid because you think your DNA matches up with the people over there. But they can't even tell you the difference between the Australian and the black African. And these are anthropologists and archaeologists. Because there is a difference between an Australian and an African. Like I said, I study this shit. I look at phenotypes. I've never seen anybody, I've never seen no black person in America who looked like an Australian. Never, ever. So they making this shit up. They saying
for that matter though, hey bro,
what
they're
doing is
we don't look like Kenyans either. We don't look like Nigerians either.
What they're doing is they're using probability and influence. So they ain't gonna come out and tell you what they gonna do. They gonna say these look like Africans and Australians, and so it's up to you, the reader, to make the connection on your own. So
they don't want you to connect yourself to them.
I know. So
that's why they telling you from Africa, and they trying to, but they telling
Australia, and they're using these probabilities, and then the reader just interpret what they heard. They just interpret in their own mind. Because remember, in our mind, the Indian is the Tonto, the African is the slave, and the Australian is the other. So if you say, oh, this is African-like, or this is an African-looking Australian, the reader's going to interpret it themselves. So that's magic, bro. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's not science.
They ain't gonna say themselves. Wait a minute, but they ain't gonna say themselves. Wait a minute. Australian and African don't look alike, and he not saying we're African. Okay, someone saying sub-Saharan African. What happens when black people take their DNA? Don't it say you got sub-Saharan African?
Everybody's supposed to be, because if Africa their source. In order to be considered a human, you need to attach yourself to the source. So anybody that don't have attachment to their so-called source is not classified as human. And that's including Naya. So if Naya walking around here fully loaded motherfucking A1DO only, then she's a motherfucking alien, or she's a new species. Because if you can't attach her to the source, then your theory is debunked. It's just that simple. So they debunking themselves. So with even with their story debunks itself. If you can understand what I'm saying.
But it ain't nothing to debunk no more, because you saying that these people wasn't here. You saying that the people, but he telling you that these people wasn't never here.
Right. So that's a lie. And then when you do tell me the truth, it's a probability that I can interpret. I can interpret it any way I want to.
It's confusing. It's confusing.
It's confusing. That's trickery. That's
they using these terms like Chief say. They use these terms and they interchange these terms when they want to, and then it'll confuse the person who reading it to the point to where they'll be like, "Damn, well, wait a minute. These are all. I don't look nothing like no Australian." So you will automatically dismiss
or
yourself.
no Indian.
Exactly.
Right.
But
in our mind,
that's what
Yep.
But see, Ty Data, that's why I come in at this shit, at, right? Because, like you said, we don't look like Indians, right? But other people will sit here and say, "Oh, well, we these." No, 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 no. I'm trying to establish the fact that people who look like us was already here, not people who was all mixed up. Eventually, we got mixed up, but people who look like us was already here. That's
Here. Point
the
blank.
whole premise of what I'm trying to prove.
Point blank.
But while other people keep saying, "Oh, this, that, and the third," and don't want to see, a lot of people don't want to say they got mixtures in their family, and don't want to come out and say, "Oh, well, yeah, my family, nigga, my yellow ass, I got white in my family somewhere down the line." I'm not going to tell you that my yellow ass was the original person here. You understand? I'm not going to tell you that. But this is what people try to do because they don't want to listen. I can show you a picture of my grandmother. My grandmother was had straight hair just like everybody else's grandmother. She was half white. She was half white. Because when I look at my father grandmother, I look at my father mother and my father, they don't look nothing like her.
So in other words, whatever we was a long time ago, they could have messed pretty much.
But they did. We know they did. The same thing they did everywhere. Just like they
added shit and going on.
But you check the movie Rabbit Proof Fence out, and they tell you what they did to the people in Australia. And then it's another movie about the Italy. I can't think of the name of it. What is the movie about the Italian when they was mixing and they was doing the amalgamations? Damn, I can't think of the name of it. But however it go, they telling you. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, man, listen, I have no problem with anybody family who may have amalgamated, such as like on one side of my family, or not even one side. I'm gonna say probably I don't even know how to say one side of it because it's not all three of my grandparents. It's only one grandparent which had the European in it. Right? Now look. Like I said, my whole thing is trying to teach black people here. We was here. I'm not with the goofy shit of saying, "Oh yeah, we mix with these the Mongoloids ain't me. They're not me." So don't So when you show me pictures of them, I'm not going to be able to. I'm gonna be confused. You know. So remember Scooby Doo. When you ask Scooby Doo a question like, you ask like, "Yo, is this your family member?" I'm like, hell no, hell no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they caught though, you guys. They caught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they caught.
And now they're still. You know they got a new theory coming out now, so they finna change it up. Yeah, I'm just waiting to see the new challenge.
You heard me? I got at least 15 articles pulled up on these with different. I mean, all of them is kind of referencing Neves. But he got other people in there with him. Now, when we had the debate among the Mongoloids, and I was kept on showing them all this, even when we get to the people in
what Mongoloids?
The Mongol. Well, the one Mongoloid and the two confused Negroes who thought they was Africans or whatever.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Them dudes,
weird ass motherfuckers here.
But when I was debating them, they like I was telling my man, I said, "Bro, you ain't qualified to be questioning Dr. Neves. Have you ever did a bust? Have you ever did any archaeology work? So you're not qualified to tell him what the fuck he means." And then you can't find you can find another scientist to try to go ahead and tell him this man is an expert at this shit.
Right.
He's an expert at it. And he know Negroes wasn't here. So why would he tell you it was?
Right. But see what they would do is how they do it is they dismiss his they would dismiss his methods when it goes against what they say. They would say, "Oh, we don't use that no more. That's lookership." But then when you say, "Well, how can this skull metamorph into this skull?" And then they use his shit to do that.
Why don't none of us got this DNA in us? Because, like I said, man,
what DNA?
The DNA of some so-called Aborigine Indians or Aborigine Australians.
They never really defined it. They never really defined what it is. I never seen it defined. I mean, maybe some of y'all have, but I never seen it defined.
That's
what
what I'm trying to
exactly in
say,
it.
though. But so you got all these people with melanated skin and similar features or the same features as you got, but because they got different DNA, then you automatically say, "Oh, this ain't me. This ain't me. My DNA test came back sub-Saharan African and all this other goofy shit." And they telling you that they find sub-Saharan African in South America before Columbus got here.
That's what
That's what I'm
hurt.
trying. That's what I'm trying to
That's
say. That
right.
people don't listen. I stutter. I curse. I mispronounce words.
Me too.
Shit.
Misspell words. I
I
crunch a
might.
word up. I crunch your name up. Don't even
Yeah,
let me see your name. Yeah,
I
we
might
all got that.
sometime. You know what I'm saying? I might sometime burp and fart or whatever, just like any other person. But why is the people who so-called educated cannot read this shit and understand it for what it is? See, it started for me with the images, with
I
the
found it.
pictures.
I found it.
What you found? What?
I found out why. It's because they don't understand free thought. See, free thought goes against the order. See what I'm
They
saying?
don't, but they also don't want to believe that everything that they've been concentrating on has been a lie.
Right.
That's the main thing. So I can easily go back and tell you that I spent 4 years in the one of these European institutions and they ain't learned shit.
Yeah, that's what
I
they
just
do.
learned enough shit. I learned enough shit that's in their guidelines for jobs to get a job from them.
Say for example, if you got an ant farm, right? You know, in the ant farm, you know, all the ants got the little worker and they work for the little queen or whatever. Just imagine if you had one ant to say, "Man, I ain't got to do this no more, man. Y'all don't own me." And then another ant look over and say, "Yeah, man, I ain't got to do it either." Now you don't fuck the whole organism up. You don't fucked up the whole colony now because of you free thought. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of us do not have the ability to free think because they program us and they train us and it's just embedded in us to go along and get along. And most of us that go along and get along, we actually, you know, most people that do is well off. You know what I'm saying? But the free thinking people, you mess up the order. That's why your ass in jail. That's why you do this and that's why you do that. It's, you know what I'm saying? You mess up the order. They have an order. You see what I'm saying? And so when you get all these people and they read these documents, they going right along with it. You can hear the word, "Oh, in the new world." I hear the new world, I'm automatically triggered. I'm my racist tension, my racist
But Todd
tendencies goes
Data,
right up,
look, Todd Data, listen though. But see,
Yep.
that goes after what? All right, let's just start back from the beginning. What are we told about the history here? We're told that the so-called Native Americans died. They died from diseases, and the ones that didn't die were shipped off to Oklahoma, right? But then we find other images of the people right here in the fucking South that look just like Negroes to me, right? That look just like us here, right? So that's one thing. Let's put that over there. Now we finding out that all of the motherfucking DNA, all the cranial skeletons look like Negroes because all of the books and all of the stuff that we've been reading is true. It was already black people here. That's it. And like I said, I'm not here to prove that I'm mixed or I look like no Mongol. I'm not here for that. I'm here to prove that the Negroes that's in the ghettos are the same, got the same ancestral line as I got. I'm not here to prove that because, like I said, at the end of the day, what good of it with I'm just being an Indian when we got almost 60 million other people who think they Africans?
Right. That's the order. You're you're a free thinker. You see what I'm
That's
saying?
right. And that's what
So
I be trying to tell. That's
right.
why a
So
lot of niggas don't like A1.
yeah,
And I know
don't like
a lot
me
of
neither. Don't like,
look,
cause
a
I'm
lot of
telling you how the
niggas
fuck
don't
I
like.
see it.
Look, a lot of niggas don't like A1 because I talk that Morris shit, and I'm not going to stop talking it. I don't give a fuck who or Aborigines don't believe it or whatever, because I tell you that we're not these mixed Mongoloids. Some of us do got that in this. I'm not going to say that we don't. And I'm not, and if anybody do got that, I'm not knocking them or nothing. I'm just trying to make a reference for the people, because most dark-skinned people don't think that they was here. This is what people don't seem to understand.
They gotta
Most of them, they don't, because they can't see themselves in the Mongoloids. I pull up a Mongoloid picture, they gonna be like, man, get the fuck out. I don't care how dark
Right. They
he
gonna
is.
cut your ass out.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care how dark he is. I don't have nobody in my family. Yeah, I have somebody in my family with straight hair. at some point in time, because remember we was altering our hair.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
there's a brother, B Lee. He say it's a book. Hold on, it's a book called Dark Crystal. Now it's a movie on Netflix, dropping the game. They've been running. So it's a movie on Netflix. You guys,
Tell him, damn,
Netflix got to pay me, bro.
Tell him to elaborate on it. Hey, my brother, elaborate on. Give us a couple sentences on what it's about.
Yeah, because you know A1 a researcher, so you get him some clues. He found the whole damn.
That's what it's about. We trying to do this, man. Like I said, but the research is dead. I just told you long before Columbus came here. Y'all niggas think y'all was living in teepees, man. They telling you had universities and colleges here while you niggas running around. Oh man, I was living in the TP. And get the fuck out. You came from a highly educated civilization, advanced civilization, motherfuckers, and you niggas running around. Oh man, we wasn't trading. They said you was using commerce and navigation. That means your ass was leaving this fucking continent.
Right.
Where was you going?
Matter of fact, here's a little food for thought for him. Just imagine all the stuff they done to you. Even if you consider yourself African American, just imagine all the stuff they done to you and all the money and resources they put into doing it. Now, why would you spend all that time doing it to some dumbass people? They're dumb. You wouldn't spend thousands of dollars to give them drugs. You wouldn't spend thousands of dollars to do all this stuff. You just get their ass a little section by themselves and just let their ass
and it worked.
Just run their ass to the ground.
Ty, it worked, Ty. When I go in my community, I see zombies. I'm telling you, I see real life zombies.
But they spend thousands of dollars to get us like that, though. Those are thousands of millions and millions of dollars worth for
but
decades
you know what,
worth to get us like that. But if we're dumb, you wouldn't have to do all that. If you know what I'm saying, if we're the dumb monkeys they say we are, like you wouldn't even have to do that.
Bro, they got us, bro. You see
I know they got us, but
you see the Popeyes chicken. They put one ad in the paper and then use some flim flam of propaganda and had two people say, well, hold up, the Chick-fil-A sandwich is better than Popeye, and you stupid niggas went out there and bought it. Like really, you went out there and you fell for this shit. Niggas and chicken, do that ring a bell? Niggas and chicken. They say niggas like niggas and chicken and all this other shit. And you bit the fucking fruit from the serpent, man.
Hold on. What happened? I ain't known it. What happened?
Popeyes and Chick-fil-A conspired to come up with a get money scheme to get people to come in there and buy and patronize them. Now, like I said,
what you mean? What you mean? Like
they put an ad on Instagram of trying to say, well, which one? The Popeyes chicken sandwich was better than the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, and them niggas went down there and made them niggas rich, man. They went down and made them. And then you hear these other, but the thing about it is this: you hear other dumbass niggas sitting up there. Oh yeah, well, the Chick-fil-A sandwich is better. What? You agree? You could like you don't own none of the places.
Hell no.
Stupid ass niggas. Like, man, listen, they got us, bro. We walking around. And like I said, when I go pick my man up, go ahead, Chief, because the Chief ain't built for me. Go ahead, Chief.
Well, I wanted to say something about the Popeyes thing, right? So I'm on what I got air quotes, like what you consider, like say, more of a affluent white side of town, right? And any side of town that has Popeyes on it, right? They got more Caucasian people in it, whatever, on that side of town. Their Popeyes are full too. I just want to throw that out there. You understand my point?
Of course, because they like to eat Southern food. No, but you know what though?
The ones that are not capitalizing on it. Well, guess what? Let's throw Harold's Chicken in there in the conversation, and maybe some people will go to Harold's Chicken and capitalize on it or whatever. I'm just using that as an example. Y'all get what I'm saying? So like we're getting played once again. We need to get in the conversation about selling some chicken, about selling some whatever, about manufacturing some whatever. ASAP.
Right.
ASAP Rocky. Okay. So when you ain't talking about none of this stuff about building your own shit or whatever, we ain't on the same wavelength.
Right.
That's what we gonna
own them both. We gonna own
right now.
We gonna put some Jabari's chicken and we gonna get a Callaway's chicken. We gonna own
That's
both of
right.
them motherfuckers.
We
And we
gonna
gonna
put a
have
chicken.
both of y'all motherfuckers, the Africans and the Indians and shit, making all that money.
Yeah, we can put a chicken sandwich together right now. That'll be
That's
better
right.
than Popeyes. But like I said though, the problem is we don't have the finances to access that. See, the reason why black people can't get businesses because you don't get the loans to get them. And then the thing about it is that's why we don't get the loans to get them. But then when all these immigrants come here, most of the people who own Popeyes are Indians, East Indians, you stupid niggas.
Damn.
You stupid niggas. You stupid niggas. They're East Indians, man. And then they got that fake ass Louisiana lady up there who's not even from Louisiana, who's from Barbados.
Oh, you bullshit. You research.
Bro, my dude, man. They played you
Dopey
with an
Snow.
apron.
They shut us
played
down, bro. They got us
Look,
blocked. We blocked
They
up there.
played you with an apron. Like, bring me my dinner there. But you the nigga here. I thought we was in the free world. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, at the end of the day, they got you. And you got other niggas arguing, like, yeah, that Popeye's chicken. What, you stupid nigga? So, because they told you to go out there and test them, you did it?
Wow.
I was sitting there looking like shaking my fucking head. Like, my God, that's why you can't get nowhere
I mean,
in
it's
the
a
world.
great marketing strategy.
Bro, it was wonderful. It was marvelous.
Yeah, they're
How about
smart.
that?
Yeah.
They're smart.
That shit was marvelous,
It
man.
paid off, yup. Damn. And they went out and made them rich.
Played you like an old accordion, you stupid niggas. Like an old accordion, man. And then niggas just happy to have the money to go get it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna give me a second one. Bro, that's why niggas suffer or perish from lack of knowledge. And it is obvious. It's obvious, man. It's obvious, man. It's obvious why they call you 85ers and call you 2/5 of a human. Because you niggas is stupid. You niggas is 2/5 of a human. You running around. You ain't 3/5. You 2/5 of a human. You fall for anything. You fall for any and everything that they do. They give you drugs. You take it. They give you this hip hop music that you know is dehumanizing your culture and your people, and you continue to listen to it. You continue to listen to shit that talk about poisoning your people, and we perfectly fine with this shit. And no one else is doing it. No one. We the only stupid motherfuckers who participate in this foolishness or whatever. And then we sit there and we wonder why people look at us the way they look at us. Cause you ain't stole your code and you ain't even do the research. You went to a white university and you thought that you felt full with that information that he gave you. You felt full with that information that he gave you. And not knowing it was all deceptive. So like I said, at the end of the day, man, you know, it is what it is with A1. I am who I am. Roll with me or don't run with me. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the information gonna get out there. I got my own personal opinions when it comes to this shit. Because like I said, we was told wasn't no black people here. But now we finding black people's all over this motherfucker. And the only Asians they finding are the motherfuckers in the Southeast. You know what I'm saying? Or I mean in the Midwest. Right. Let's say the Midwest.
Hey, Dopey Snow say, is there an aboriginal way of starting a business?
I mean, you know who do that? You know who do a lot of that though? Ali Muhammad. You gotta really check out Ali. Ali Muhammad has a method of how he do it. But the only thing about it is his method, you ain't gonna be able to access. I don't think you could access the loans like through a corporation because it's an indigenous business. So, you know, you got Ali Muhammad talks about that a lot. You got to really check him out because he definitely has a lot of information on that. So, but like I said,
what kind of business? I want to see what kind of business you trying to start. You know what I'm saying? What are you trying to get? We can, we out here.
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, it's a few people got a couple of LLCs and 501c3s and stuff like that. But like I said, there's a way you have to declare who you are first, and then you still, even if you don't do it with your social, you will still have to do it with a 98 number. You know, through the SS5 form, you have to do it, and you have to download that. Start a 98 number. You have to, and then once you start that business you have to register that business. So let's say if you register the business in South America, The business could be registered in South America, but could be functioning in America, and that makes that business tax exempt because it's not on America. It's not based out of American soil. That's why a lot of the companies moved across seas, because they was able to find to get over on them clauses like that.
Mm-hmm.
They moved overseas and just operate out of the United States.
Just a mailbox. They ain't even gotta move. Just a mailbox. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
they
you know
ain't up on that jet. Yeah.
You know, so that's why a lot of companies you see go over there, because they don't have to pay taxes. They have a 98 number or whatever. We don't. But now with that 98 number, they don't use that to try to go get them no personal cell phones or nothing. That 98 number does everything for the business. Get a business bank account. Could access some type of funds through that business. Can get you like business like utilities through if you need PSE&G. Like if you have like let's say if you have a place like a restaurant, or you have some place where you're doing taxes, or you might have insurance. You might be an insurance broker or somewhere like that. You know what I'm saying? You definitely, you know, you need a headquarters. So, you know, a lot of that comes in with all that. But for the most part, like I said, you know, definitely Ali Muhammad talks about a lot of that. And there's a lot of other brothers who do it. I don't know if the brother got my email. You can also email me at chiefatanchan@AOL.com. CHIEFAUTOCHTHON@AOL.com. You know, but yeah, man, for the most part, that's what I do. I'm not here to, you know, I'm here to show you that, you know, through the anthropologists and archaeologists, as well as the numerous explorers, as well as everything. I'm already Gucci on my side, because I already know where my people came from. I know on both sides. But like I said, when I'm looking at the other brother who think he's an African, and then when I ask him like, yo, you got any Indian in your family? They be like, yeah, my grandmother was an Indian. So why you got that African medallion around your neck? Wouldn't she be upset? And this is not one nigga. This is not one nigga. This is not a and then this is not a mixed nigga. But Ty Data, look, Ty Data. This is not a mixed nigga. I got people on my that I interview that's as dark as Wesley Snipes that's telling me their grandmother was Indians. So, and they ain't all telling me, oh, my grandmother was fair skinned with straight hair. No, they telling me my grandmother was a fucking Negro. Some of us did have that. And like I said, it's no knock to anyone who do that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to talk down or any of the people who think they Indians or think they may have Indians. I'm here to find out, was it black people here, yes or no? That's it. That's it. And like I said, they wasn't even called Indians. The word Indian means ungodly one. Mean they, you know, it's synonymous with the word pagan. So, I mean, because all of the Southeast tribes, when you find all of these books, whether it's a Tennessee book, it talk about the Tennessee Aborigines. Whether it's Georgia, talk about the Georgia. All of these places talk about the Aborigines of that place. They don't say, oh, well, no, these are no. They the most oldest books call them motherfuckers Aborigines, man.
Facts.
None of them say Indian. All of them, the more recent ones that's been tampered with, and people are trying to summarize according to what they're hearing, trying to equate 400 years or 200 years to what's going on now, to the Indians you see now. Johnny Depp, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make a place for people who don't look like that. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, all of the history is pointing towards that. They said it was different people of different colors, but understand, us as black people in America, take a look at the black person next to you. We don't all look the same, but we all classified as blacks.
Right? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
You look at a nigga like even in New York. New York niggas look different, with the exceptions to the brothers that came from the South. Look at nigga like LL Cool J. Look at nigga like, I don't know if you niggas know Half a Mill. Half a Mil got he killed himself back in the 90s, but he was a rapper that used to be down with AZ. Look at Half a Mil. Look at Look at how a lot of these brothers look, man. That's in New York. And when you look at the Seminole, you look at the Montauk, and you look at these Indians, you wonder why. Look at Old Dirty, for example. So,
Well,
Ain't Old Dirty,
another
ain't Old
thing
Dirty
too.
the one that went to go get a welfare check on MTV or some shit? I
his
heard.
grandfather was Paul Cuffey. Why he getting a welfare check, I don't know.
Have y'all
Because
seen that?
his grandfather owned Manhattan. Ain't nobody sell Manhattan. They took Manhattan.
Or is
That's
that a
what we
rumor?
in all the places where they saying that people were selling them land, we found out that they was taking the land. Ain't nobody sell y'all nothing.
Well,
Ain't nobody sell you Manhattan.
well,
You lying.
but here's the kicker to everything, right? See, we're gonna apply so much pressure on this government, right? Who's naming people anyway? Who's changed it over 6 times in the last 100 years, right? But the facts are, if your grandparents or mothers, fathers have colored on their certificate, that makes you descendant of the copper-colored Aborigines that they find. I got to go back to this. This is law. This is legal. They're going to have to stop socially calling us African Americans because we're not Africans. We are the first Americans, and that's what we're pushing when we talk about the first American agenda. You know what I'm saying?
They don't have no problem with you claiming that.
No, they don't.
We got
We have to more of us have to start claiming this socially for it to start working for us politically. You see how this works? Like, nobody's gonna stop you from building in America, but you. We're the only people doing this, and that's why I keep stressing peace treaty, peace treaty, peace treaty. How do we get to a point where we hate each other? Why are we accepting hate music? Why are we accepting hate from each other? I don't accept it. You know what I mean? Because if you telling me you hate me, now we at war. Because you telling me that I'm your enemy. So if you hate me, then we got a problem. Right. It ain't just one way hate, because now I hate you now because you hate me. That is work.
Right.
So stop the hate amongst each other, man. It's un-American. It's not cool anymore. It's not cool for us to even put that type of energy towards each other. We talked about the other night when we talked about walking into a store or seeing each other and automatically, based off our skin color, oh, I'm watching you, or I'm watching you, or I hate you too. We're never gonna get nowhere with that. So we
I don't see that no more, Chief. Though, you know what I see a lot though these days. I'm gonna keep it 100. I listen. When I see another Black American, for some reason when we catch eye contact, they be like, "What's up, brother?" I'm starting to get that a lot, even in the North now. When I go on places and I see a Black American brother or whatever, most of them like, "What's up, brother?" or give me a head nod or something like that, you know. So we starting to speak and starting to acknowledge that we only have each other. We don't have these other blacks that come here, with exception to the ones that do side with us. So I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying that the small number of people who do decide to get themselves into any of these ramifications when it's dealing with us here, they understand that. Other people don't. We look at all Black people as the same, and that is the fucking problem with us. No one asks each other, well, where you from? That's what Pan-Africanism fucked us all up. And no one wants to admit that. No one wants to admit it. Everybody, Garvey was trying to send you to Africa when you wasn't from Africa. And that
may not be true either. That's another thing that they try to put on him, you know what I'm saying? Because even Paul Cuffey, he was like, yo, let's do business with Africa, you know what I'm saying? And the UNIA, as something that we can go back and say, this was successful. This was success, right, of organizing. How did...
You said Paul Cuffey. Paul Cuffey was the one.
Shout out to James Gilmore real quick, man. Nice to see you in the building. You know what I'm saying? One of those people that go back a long way. Definitely appreciate you. Nova the Star in the building.
Indeed, my brother. But what Chief was just saying, damn, I lost my train of thought. Chief,
he was talking about Paul Cuffey and
okay, all right. Paul Cuffey.
Know if he was trying to do business with Africa.
But he wasn't doing no. He was doing business with the Americans that went to Africa. The Liberians and the Sierra people from Sierra, either it was Liberia or Sierra Leone. Because I know when I read up on Paul Cuffey, he was the one that was taking people to either Liberia or Sierra Leone. And then you have to understand from that point of view, because the United States government never sent nobody to them nations. The British government was. So you had to, for you to go to Sierra Leone, you had to go through Canada. You could not go, they wasn't sending boats to, because they wasn't allowing the people to do that. But then when you get the American Colonization Society and all of that, then they started to do that. So, like, you know, like I said, people don't understand what the American colonization society was about. It was about moving free people here. Why? So if they brought you here to be a slave, why can't they just enslave you? Why are they saying that the free Negroes is giving us problems? So we'll enslave them back. Put them back in slavery.
Yo,
Hey, what? You used to be a
bro, it's
pan
crazy because, like, the lady that was talking, going back to that video, right? She was like, "Yo, the black Seminole." I'm like, "Well, what? Only other type of Seminole there were mixed Seminole, right? Because the original Seminole, the original Creek, the original Yamasee, the original Cherokee, the original Californian, the original every goddamn thing was people of color." I got to keep going back to that, man, because I don't want, and these new people are new. That's why they are minority. We're the majority in America. That means that they didn't bring hundreds of millions of us over here, and then they let their slaves outbreed them, outbuild with them. That's dumb. Like, we are the original civilization builders of the planet from America. This is what it is.
You had universities here,
everything, bro.
Paved streets. You had all
niggas
that
stuff,
bro.
niggas, we called them, like, we just read this like a few weeks ago, right? When we were talking, they were talking about sending these African people were talking about sending their children to America to go to school. I'm like, well, wait a minute. How are they doing this during slavery? Then when they sent the second son 4 years later, they said that they had enslaved their first son. So I'm thinking, well, how did they go from sending their children here to go to school, right? And then by the time they sent their second child 4 years later to go to school, they were slaves. I'm like, why would somebody send their second child into slavery? Does that make any goddamn sense? Like, these people are liars.
Yeah.
Liars.
Used to be a Pan-African?
Of course, yeah. I mean, well, you know what? No, you know what?
Tell us about it, man. Tell us
about it. You know what? Oh, yeah, for sure, nigga, for sure. And that's what, like I said, look, my dude, when I came into this shit, bro, I remember the 90s when we was walking around wearing the African medallions and niggas was, and Stetsasonics came out with that song, AFRICA, Angola, Zimbabwe, and Tanzania, Mozambique, Botswana. So let us speak about the motherland. This is what they came out. They came out with a video of that in the 80s. So we was wearing the medallions and all this, that, and the third, right? So, like, when I really got into the Pan-Africans, like, when I really, really got back into it, the first thing that was on my radar, like, I was dealing with the Pan-Africans. I got mad books. I got all that. I got all of the books that these niggas got, right? So, you know, doing the research on that. Then I find a song by Nas. It's called "We Are Not Alone," and he mentions a guy named Ivan Van Sertima in it. So I'm like, who the fuck is Ivan Van Sertima? And so then I looked him up. He said, I used to worship a certain Queensbridge murderer till I heard the words of Ivan Van Sertima. He inserted something that made me more worthier. So I learned when I came home from prison, that's when the Nas album came out. And when I heard that song, I said, let me see who the fuck Ivan Van Sertima is.
Right.
And once I seen that was it. Because when I got the book, they came before Columbus. Then I got the book, the Mayan pyramids or whatever. And then I started researching stuff. Then I came up with the word more. Then I started researching the word more. Then the Moors were saying, oh, well, we was already in America. Then I'm saying, hold on, wait, what do you mean we was in America? These niggas said we from Africa.
Right.
So then that led me there. And then Yafa Bey, when I met Yafa Bey, and Yafa Bey started really explaining it or whatever. And then when I spoke to Duke of Tears and he told me my last name was a Cherokee last name, I was like, what? He said, your last name is Cherokee, bro. It's not even British, it's Cherokee.
Hold on, whoa, whoa,
Wow.
time out,
Yeah, you
brother.
can't let that slip in there. One. Hold
No,
on,
no,
hold on.
hold on. So you know what's so mind-boggling about what you're saying,
Cherokee.
my brother?
Wow.
That what pushed me into being African, right? So much was that the fact that they told us that we were carrying cracker names, right? So a nigga like me, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not. I want to be you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna become Shaka Zulu. Y'all follow me? I'm gonna be Zulu. I'm not gonna be a slave name, right? But what's so crazy is I've seen Muhammad Ali tell them. I was watching the documentary last night, right? And he was telling them, "Yo, don't call me that slave man. Don't call me that white man's name. Call me Muhammad Ali," which he's going into another slave name. But we're gonna get back to what you just said about your name being a Cherokee name. Right? I found out that my name on my daddy's side, which I carry my daddy's name, is Cherokee as well. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
mind-boggling, y'all. Like
Yep.
this is
Yeah.
it's
So
mind-boggling because we were being so disrespectful to our ancestors, our family lineage, and we were trying to be Shaka Zulu in them. Y'all get what
Yep.
I'm saying?
yeah.
You lose
Mm-hmm.
power. You can't tap into your power or your mojo or your medicine. Shout out to
Hey,
medicine, man.
Chief, real
Because you're
quick,
doing
Chief,
that.
real
Yeah,
quick.
that's what.
What
Yes,
year
sir.
did Shaka Zulu go against the British?
That's probably like 1930.
Okay, okay. So why is the British? So why is the British still trying to conquer Africa in the 1900s?
Nigga, they couldn't have made it in Africa unless they got strong off of Americans from the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. They couldn't get into Africa, bro. They're liars,
Right.
That's
straight
right.
Right,
liars.
but those stories fascinate me because they also yeah they do because you know what they express free thought. You see what I'm saying? You remember when I was talking about the ant farm and one ant say, "Hey man, I don't need to do this," and then another ant be like, "I don't need to do this," and then it mess up the whole program because of free thinking. You see what I'm saying? So you guys was in the program and you at some point you like, hold up, this shit is dumb or it's not making sense. And
Bro,
then you
Van
start
Sertima did it for me. Like I
right,
said, man.
right, and then
When
you
I
start
said,
thinking
yeah.
for yourself. You start thinking for yourself and not let the program think for you. You see what I'm saying? And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what we represent over here, and that's one of the underbellies, the undercuts of what we trying to push. You know what I'm saying? Dan Calloway trying to make you think and all that. That's the undertone of what we just ain't categorized it correctly, and we ain't brought it all under a roof and got it all straightened out because we all still divided in this person and that person and all this and all that. And so, but we all represent free thought, you guys. We all fall under that umbrella. You see what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
and and that's what's dangerous to them. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
But you know what though? You just gotta, like I said, man. You know, you gotta kind of get away from what we was told. Like I said, so when I seen the Omex, right? So when I seen the Omex, I didn't even see the back of the Omex at this point in time. I only seen the front of them, right? But when I went to me and my girl, we went to the museum in New York on I believe it's on 90 something Street or 100, and it's in Central Park. I think it's the historic museum, right? First thing you see when you walk in is a fucking giant ass Olmec, right? So when you see the Olmec and you looking at it, but then when you see the back of it and you see this motherfucker had braids in his head, you start saying, wait a minute. Well, I mean, like I, I do hair. I've never seen these mongoloid people with braids in their head. And if they only got braids in there, they only braid the end of it. They don't braid it from the scalp. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, nah, it's no way. It's no way that, you know what I'm saying, that they can possibly, their hair can stay like this. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, and that led me to everything else. That led me to find Walter Neves. That led me to all this other stuff. It's just from being a Pan-African and studying. And then you find out and you told that all blacks came from Africa. This is what you're told. You're told this throughout your whole lifetime or through everything. Right? Ain't that what you told? All black people came from Africa? But then, like I said, when you're looking at the people from Seminole Island, or we're looking at the people of Southeast, these are black people too. So, I mean, like at the end of the day, man, like I said, man, you gotta do your own research and come out with your own. My thing was clear about us being here already. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was
That's right.
mainly clipped on us being here because I was told there were no black people here, and then I just kept finding more and more images of people who resemble black, and then I'm smart enough to know that you wasn't calling us black, you was calling us colored. So it would make sense to why every non-European will be a colored. So I mean,
it goes back to the law, though. It goes back to the law. Like once we claim our identity, it goes back to the Declaration of Reclamation. Shout out to legal son. It goes back to what we're saying. We're reclaiming ourselves socially, y'all. This is important. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this is the work. This is the most important thing for us to be doing, is to take back socially, take back what has been taken from us. I don't know why nobody don't understand that. And we don't really have critics of it. We just have lack of support. Because once everybody gets on this wave, it's over. They're not going to be able to stop it. Like, think about it. There's no possible way.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's no possible way for you to stop it after a while.
I got some.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, the actual research is there. The actual documentation is there. And the opposite, they have the opposite. They don't have any documentation. They have fantasy. And that's what's so crazy to me. I'm like, yo, you're just going to keep producing fantasy? Like, I don't get it. That's
and and black people so dumb, though, Chief. Black people so dumb, right? They know that, okay, it's black people in Brazil. They find a black skull over that dates back to damn near 11, 12,000 years ago. So you think when these people got here, wasn't no people here that look like them? You understand? Niggas is stupid because they telling you it's an Australian. He said that's a Negroid. That's what he said first. It's a Negroid. They didn't do no tests because they still trying to figure out is this a sub-Saharan African, a Melanesian, or Australian. They don't know. So how is he going automatic? Australian don't look nothing like no African. I'm sorry. They don't. They don't look nothing like no Africans. I'm sorry. They dark. They might have the same color as them, but they don't have the same features. It's just like me. I got a black Porsche and Chief got a black BMW. They both black cars, but the grill on my front of my car is different. The emblem is different. The doors is different. That's make the cars different. So I mean, it's obvious, bro. It's obvious. Well, no black people in Portugal, but the oldest skull you find are black people there. Fuck out of here, man. And then, like I said, it's just a lot of confusion, man, because they go to the Midwest first, and then the people who I started seeing first, they started matching themselves up with the Mongoloids first. That's what they started matching pictures up, putting them next to these Mongoloids when it was people who look just like you here now that was already here. That ain't look nothing like them. Now, some people, family, maybe they did, but the majority, if you go into these ghettos, and you go look at these Negroes, and you ask these Negroes, do they got Indian in them? You got to look and say, well, they don't look like the Indians in the plains, meaning that these are obviously the original Indians that they found here, or they lying, or they mixed. It's either that. It's only three things. Either original Indians, they're lying, or they're mixed with Indians. That's it. But then you're going to have to show me, I know, even though we know that book said it was a lot of different complexions here. When I see that Indian smoking figure, that's a Negro to me. So I'm assuming that. I mean, even when we look at that so-called American being the old. No, matter of fact, it's not American. It's the picture when they got the 5 different phenotypes up there. They got the African, and on top of the African, they got a nigga who looks just like a so-called African, but because he got a different, because his hair may seem like it might be straight, then we don't say that that's us. That nigga don't look nothing like them Mongoloids. He look like a Negro with just straight hair, or with his hair long and it just combed out. Just like when you niggas had braids in your hair, and you took braids out and your hair fell out to your neck. It wasn't straight, it just was long. It could not stand up because you wasn't brushing it up, you was brushing it down. Well, like I said, man, it's just a lot of shit, man. It's a lot of confusion, and I'm not with the confusion. Indeed, man. Thank you for coming through, man. Todd Data, man. Love the brother, man. Always show me the utmost respect, man. Um, Definitely, man. Thanks, man, for bringing me through. Always, man. Chief Holiday, my brother. Anytime you need me, come through. But for the most part, what we covered, just real quick, just let's go back over some things we talked about. We was primarily talking about the Yamasee, and after further research, we talked about some of the Yamasee wars. Then we talked about, hold up, it's this one. I think it's this article right here. Then we talked about, I'm sorry, go ahead, Chief.
The Tuscarora. I wanted to I wanted to see if anybody in the chat room could tell us what Tuscarora meant, because I know what Tuscaloosa means black warrior. Shout out to the ancestor Tuscaloosa, the 7-foot chief who whooped on old boy Hernando Soto. That's a salute to that. But my point is though, right? So if Tuscaloosa is black warrior, Tuscarora has to mean black something as well. So I just want to see if anybody knows. I've been looking, I can't find it. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure that it was a descriptive term of the actual Tuscarora people. Y'all see how this works? So, like I said, let's don't get caught up. Let's don't separate ourselves from the terms that were given to us, but get back to building. Let's get back to the truth. You know what I'm saying? So that's all.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's about right too, man. Like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like y'all already know what it is with me. I already put out what my agenda is with this research. And for the most part, man, like I said, man, we pretty much found it, man. It's you know what I'm saying? Like just real quick. You never heard this. It's telling you it's a large population in the coast of South Carolina. Then we go down, he's saying the book, he's saying it is a fact. He's saying the fact that Africans lived in these islands, meaning South Carolina islands, right? Now he's saying that people was already there. You know what I'm saying? Whether people believe it or they don't believe it. What the fuck is that? Who that? Well, that's AP, man. AP, man, I've been hitting you up, man. I sent you the link yesterday, man. But yeah, they telling you that it was already blacks in them islands, and this is the 57th congressional first session. This is a House of Representative document 179, and that's what this shit says. So I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, the Tuscarora or the Yamasee was enslaved, and they telling you that them Yamasee people was bought there on the slave shit, but they telling you it was already black people there. So that's what I'm saying, how people fucking with your mind, because it's like 1 minute you got people telling you that, but because they telling you that you're not related to them, though. What is the chances that it was already black people here and you enslaved these same black people in the same place where our people from? What is the chances of that? See, the mitigating factor is the fact that they leave out the fact that they enslaved the Indians. That's what they leave out. They don't tell you about that. They leave that fact out a lot. That's the fact that they don't tell you. Oh, if you knew they enslaved Indians and then you knew to declassify these Indians as Negro, then it would be easy for you to understand. But it's not that simple. So, I mean, I'm going to end it with that. Brother Todd Data got to go. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Like I say, you know where to reach me if you need to reach me. You already know what time it is. I'm the Tonsiless one, a.k.a. Ahanu. Thank you, brothers, for letting me come through. Chief, hit me up, man, when you get a chance, man. I'm out of here, though, man.
Hey,
peace,
when
y'all.
you know you live here, too, man. You ain't no gas, man. You good.
No, indeed. I'm just saying, though, but you know how
Yeah,
it go, man.
I know.
You still got to, bless the platform and respect brothers from the platform. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man. Like I said, for the most part, man, we just trying to pretty much find out if black people here, if it was black people here, and they was enslaved, then more likely you are descendants of them. So that being said, you already know what time it is. I'm out of here, man. Peace, Chief, Holiday, and peace, Todd Data. Peace.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming through, bro.
Anytime, my brother. You already know how we do, man. Peace.
Child motherfucking data.
Chief, you wanna take us out?
Say what?
Want to take us
Yeah,
out?
yeah, man. Like I said, once again, thanks for Spill the Vibes, man. Coming through earlier. Thanks for tossing this one coming through. As usual, thank Ty Data, man, always coming through, man. For tech support and everything, man. We definitely appreciate all the great ones tuned in. That's gonna see this, listen to this later, man. We definitely appreciate it. Hope y'all get something out of this. Go back. These are bullets that you can use as weapons. Don't never let nobody tell you who you are. Take nothing from you. Take and disrespect you and your ancestors is a no. That is a no fucking no.
Amen.
Right? If you don't fight for nothing else, fight for your ancestors, fight for your children, man, fight for your respect, fight for honor, right? They're just lying. So don't allow them to continue to lie, keep disrespecting you and taking respect from your people. You know what I'm saying? So so shout out to everybody, man. We definitely appreciate everybody tuned in. We tuned into the greatest of all time. Yeah, man, we're gonna keep plugging in, man. Keep bringing some heat. So we do, like I said, we appreciate all the great ones tuned in, man. What else we got going on, man? Like I said, we're gonna continue the First American History Show. We're gonna get into some pyramids. We're gonna get into the mummies. We're gonna get into a lot of different science that you know what I'm saying. So people can really, you know what I'm saying, get into this culture, man. Get into the information. So there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of empirical data. There's a lot of shout out to Dr. David Imhotep. He say evidence. You know what I'm saying? They got belief systems. They don't have any evidence. So we like to present a lot of our evidence, man. So just remember that Moroons is brown people that they found here. Shout out to the Cleveland Moroons. Shout out to the Washita Root Skins. That's what I'm saying. So they're tapped into it. We need to tap into it. So peace to the tribe, man. We out of here. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Lakeisha from the Lakeisha Network. I am here to remind you to go to your Google or Apple App Store. Simply type the word LAKESHA and then search to install and download the Lakeisha Alert app to stay up to date on my new superior features. Subscribe to my YouTube page by opening up your app and clicking menu. Click on the About Us tab. Try to get familiar with my software and also teach it to your loved ones. And get your household familiar with my information. It will be useful in the future. You're welcome in advance.